And I feel like in the last meeting, they were saying like, oh, most of the time when the budget comes, they try to deal with mayor's good side.
Right.
So we have to deal with this as well.
So they should be more transparent with the budget.
Yeah.
So definitely more transparent with the budget. Okay. And we gotta hold them probably more accountable. So
For sure.
if they say they're gonna do something.
And you guys.
Hey, what's up, Kat? All right. Good seeing you.
Keep us informed.
I'm gonna do it.
Before we get started, good evening, everyone. We're going to have a prayer, opening prayer, with the benefit of having a Councilor pastor. That's right.
Let the church say amen. Amen. If you don't mind, just get a hand of someone next to you. We want to lock in tonight. Lord, we thank you tonight for how good you've been to us. We thank you for allowing us to gather today at this institution, one that was fought for, one that we continue to stand for. I pray, Lord, that you bless every person in this house. Bless those that have convened this meeting. Bless those councilors that will speak during this meeting. And Lord, we pray that you would bless us in a special way. Give us the power, the audacity, and the courage to stand and continue to fight, that we will never get tired, that we will continue to fight the good fight. And as we come together, that we might make good trouble, that the blessings might fall fresh on us. Let the church say amen. Amen. Say amen again.
In the flesh.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually not supposed to be doing this, but our moderator, Michael Curry, is in traffic and on his way, but this is Boston traffic, so I know you understand. We want to get started. He texted, said, please go ahead and get started, and we're going to do that. Want to just talk to you through what the agenda will be tonight. First, my name is Diane Wilkerson, and I've had the distinct honor and pleasure of working with a group. I think there are probably almost 35 people in this room who have been talking, right? I was going to be on the panel. I gave up my seat for Rodney Singleton because I think you need to hear him. So here's what I have to my request for you. Be respectful. We can all sing together, but we can't all talk at the same time. You're going to hear some things that might upset you. You might have already been upset when you walked in here. And you're all welcome. To be specific, this conversation is about Black Boston. Not a whole lot of places you can go and have that conversation and not have people look at you sideways. But this conversation is about Black Boston. What is happening? What is not happening? How we fit in the world, in the country, in this state, and in this city, the capital city we call Boston. So, what we were going to do is this, and then there's been one piece added to that because of some activities that have occurred over the last week. Most importantly, on Friday. Maybe that would be like, what was it? Remember Black Monday? Black Monday, for those of you who don't know, was like the day the stocks crashed, right? In the 1913. But for us today, that Black Friday was the day many of you who were on the ground doing the work, the important work that nobody gets to see, working with our young folks with $2 or $10 or whatever that small grant you got. So on Friday, in preparation for the fiscal year 27 budget discussion, for the city of Boston, the city sent out emails to many of you saying, "You not at the table." And so it set off a firestorm, but we knew we were going to have to make some time for that conversation as well. And we'll do that. January of this year, conversations, I think, just shortly after the election process for the president of the Boston City Council, phones were just blowing up all over this community, and you all know that. And we ended up deciding we need to talk and figure out what to do. And so I'm trying to think, maybe the second, third week, 2 weeks later, there was an initial conversation. There was probably 10, 12 people that were sitting around the table at the Black Nubian Market. Said we gotta have a larger conversation. That ended up on Sunday, March 8th, at Uptown with 35 people, and at that meeting, we invited the councilors of color from the Boston City Council to come and talk to us about what many perceived as a disconnect. Like, who do you work for? And no, it was a very, like I said, open conversation. It hasn't happened. We should. And so we're going to have that conversation of what that means. That word that we throw around a lot now about accountability, and we're going to actually have someone speak to what that means, because it may mean different things for Black folks around the country. Know this: Black folks in the South run against other Black folks all the time. Nobody asked a Black folk to get out so there'll only be one of us in the race. What happens is you got to do your homework, right, as voters, and figure out which one is responsive to the issues for you. Here is all confused. We also, in Massachusetts in particular, because of the history of racism, we are socialized to know what to do when we see something what we perceive to be racist, right? So we know what to say to white people. We know what to say when the commissioner of BPD is white. We know what to say when the commissioner of the fire department is white. We know what to say when the corporate leaders are white. And then all of a sudden they figure it out, well, we still haven't figured out. If you put Black people there, we get confused because we are not raised and oriented in Massachusetts, in our community, to hold Black people accountable. You all know I'm telling the truth. We have to hold the people accountable for the titles or the positions that they hold. And this morning, the conversation. And we're not just focused on the city council, because we have to figure out a way to have a conversation with each other. Because even for us, we were in a room where, and when I made my comment, you all will remember what I said. Most of y'all in here don't like each other. But because you don't work with them, right? And so the whole community loses out. And so we got to fix some stuff. But there's nothing more important right now for us as residents of this city than making sure that we get our just due from the people who purport to represent us, which means we got to figure out a way to have the conversation to tell them what we want and to tell them what we're expecting of them. We started this conversation in March, as I said, and we told the city councilors who were there that we were going to do this next, and that is have a town hall to tell you all what we said. So you'll hear this later, but where we're going to start is with this panel, because there's so much, and I know you all, your heads spinning, because you see every day, you read what's going on. So we really asked them to do not long, this is not going to be a fireside chat. We asked them to give you all a picture of their respective areas of focus, things that people have said to us are important to us, to you. And just to give you some overview and context, so when we start that conversation and tell you what transpired at that March 8th meeting and invite you to go to that mic. We're going to be taking notes. We want to hear your questions. we're going to get out of here with a plan for the next step. It's too much going on for us to waste our time and to waste your time. So we hope that you would appreciate, this is just us. What you hear is our opinion, our thoughts. You have yours. Let's figure out what they all are. Thank you. Angela is the one who is signing people in. How are we doing? I do want you to know that so far, Councilor Enrique Pepin is here. Councilor Julia Mejia is here. Councilor Minyard Culpepper is here. Councilor Brian Morell is here. Clap for them. But you know why I say that? Because if I was them, I wouldn't want to walk in here and deal with you. And they walked right on in here and sat down, and so we need to acknowledge that. Well, we're going to get on a good page, so even when it's time for conversation, you're going to be happy to see us all. That's our goal. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Carrie Mays, if you know, in fact, I want you all to look around and there's like a lot of young people in this room. It did not happen by accident. If you're under 25 years old, stand up, raise your hand. Lisa, trying to pretend. You see them? 25. and so, see, look at, y'all look up in that corner. They can't repeat what they don't know, and they won't know it if we don't make sure they're in our space every time these conversations are going on. So, we thank you for being here. Carrie was asked, because some of you know, where are these young people? Why don't they vote? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that, right? And they just got their whole summer blown away last Friday with the letters that went out. They got no money for you, but they showed up. So, Carrie and I had almost a 2-hour conversation last Sunday, and I said, you got to come, you got to explain to people, because it really is a question. What we need to do, because we can talk all we want. Like I say, everybody got an opinion, but they don't count opinions. They only count votes. Right? So the question put to Carrie is, what do you want us to know about the Black youth, young people? How do we get you more focused, more focused on this big picture, involved, organizing and voting? And so she agreed. Here we go. Carrie Mays.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces that have, and thank you so much, Ms. Diane, for having me. I just want to say, people say, so I organized the biggest Black Lives Matter protest for George Floyd in 2020. Fast forward, thank you so much. Fast forward, I was appointed to serve on the Police Accountability Board, and I want to shout out Julia Mejia, and I want to shout out Brian Roel, who were pioneers in that work at that time on the City Council. If it weren't for them, and fast forward, I was then serving on the Reparations Task Force, and I was the chair for community engagement, where we created the first grassroots partnership program, giving grants out to Black-owned businesses, creatives, and organizations that are doing reparations advocacy efforts, and there's a lot more work that needs to be done. I'm also one of the co-founders through Teen Empowerment for a movement called Gang Vote. So in 2020, we registered thousands of people to vote in the span of a week. 1 week during the presidential election, during COVID, we were on the ground. And the reason why we created Gang Votes was because to us, gang does not mean, we wanted to flip the negative conceptual perception of what a gang is. Because when I say I'm with my gang to my mama, I'm with my friends. To us, gang means family, it means village, it means community. And so we said, why don't we bring the gang to the voting booth? And that's how we created Gang Votes, which is the largest Gen Z, Gen Alpha voter bloc in Boston, and through teen empowerment. Where are young people? Young people are struggling. Young people don't have support. Young people have, matter of fact, if it wasn't for the Children's March of Birmingham, young people were the catalyst for desegregation across this country. Young people have always been at the forefront of every political component, every political movement in America that is a reflection of our humanity and a reflection of a lot of the rights and the privileges that we have, specifically Black young people that put their lives on the line. I see, one, if you look at what's happening in this economy, I'm a business major, and I'm the only Black girl in my class. We need more. Shout out to Brian Lowell, who created an entrepreneurship program, and shout out to Julia Mejia for literally pioneering spaces in which small businesses can thrive. But the reason why I went into business is because of Black Wall Street. And I think a lot of young people are not shown examples of leadership within themselves. And we don't just need representation anymore. We need equity. We need a reflection of power in which challenges the status quo to transform systems. And young people, so there's something called the 4 eyes of oppression, and this is very important. So it starts with understanding that from white supremacy starts as on the ideological level, that's an idea. And then that ideological inferior, superior complex of white supremacy then leaks into the institutional structures, right? And then from the institutional structures, those structures govern how we socialize as a society that then leaks into the interpersonal of how we treat each other. And then that leaks then into the internalized oppression because of how we socialize amongst each other. First, it starts out as an ideology of superiority that then leaks into the institutional structures that governs people, that then influences the interpersonal interactions and the ways in which we treat each other, that then, I see you clapping back there, much love, that then leaks into the internalized oppression for how we then perceive ourselves because of the ways in which we're being treated and the ways in which we're being systemically disenfranchised. Why is that important? And I'm going to say something controversial. It's going to be very hard for me to believe that we can reach a place of liberation if we do not first solve and heal the Willie Lynch syndrome with each other. We have a lot of internalized oppression to heal. And when the Black Panther said, I am fighting with one hand, with the white supremacists, I am fighting most of my time with my own people. And that's what you're seeing within, regardless of who becomes the first Black or brown representative, still you don't see a lot of structures changing because we forgot that representation is not a reflection of power structural changes. Young people are very smart. I think the problem that's affecting us right now is that we see the internalized oppression. We also see that, representation is not going to get us to liberation. And we also see that we're living in one of the hardest economies ever. According to the World Economic Forum, approximately 100 million jobs are going to be replaced due to AI by 2030. It's already happening. 50% of the jobs are being replaced right now. The professors at my colleges are freaking out because they're like, there's no jobs for you all. And in addition to that, because of the dismantling of DEI and social programs, we have no jobs. Who's So my question to the community is, we need more young people running for office, seeing reflections of themselves. And I'm actually working on a film on that, so stay tuned. But the best question that I have, I feel that we need to evaluate is, why do we have to rely? If the economy is breaking down, if the jobs and DEI and social programs, one of the programs that I was leading was actually just dismantled. You know, we're losing funding, then why do we have to wait? Or why are we dependent, and why should we have to rely on the white industrial nonprofit complex in order to create programs for ourselves? Where are the leaders? Why don't we have if you see that DEI and social programs and funding is dismantling the safety nets and the safe programs, who's going to employ us to continue to be able to do the work? We shouldn't have to just depend and rely on the white nonprofit and the industrial complex. And I challenge the Black leaders to pick up the torch and create those programs. And shout out to Miss Priscilla Flint, who's here, who is pioneering that as well.
You're going to see shortly why this exercise was important. Probably the most talked about issue, most written about issue that pertains to us in the last first 3 months of the year has been education. So much going on with our kids, BPS, and this lady is one of several of what I call the OGs, the experts, the history. If you want to know about a BPS, and particularly her charge today, like all of them, was to speak to what is happening to Black children in BPS, and what do we need to be doing. So we're not going to cover every single issue. Some of you may want to talk about something, but this was something that you need to know because there's so much happening and because we're in budget season. So let me introduce Edith to you. And
hey, look, I want to be structured and organized. So
you can't be away.
You called me an OG, so I'm going to say if you are over 50 and you are still in the struggle, raise your hand. Now you notice I didn't say stand, okay? So I just wanted to make sure that we recognize the continuum. We need our young people. We need those who have the historical perspective. So I'm going to take you on a quick journey around the status of BPS. And when we talk about what is happening for Black students in BPS, we have to start with the data. So I want to begin with the question. If Black students are 29%, there are 29% Black students in the district. We're not going to talk about why, but we know that number was higher, and we all know why, right? If there are 29% Black students in Boston Public Schools, but they make up more than 40% of suspensions, more than 40% of physical restraints, more than 50% of seclusion incidents, is this racial equity? The answer is no. There is no other group that is overrepresented in these categories, and every other group is underrepresented. Just think about that for a moment. Here's a follow-up question. Is this accidental? We know it's not accidental. The answer is also no. This is not random. It's a historical pattern. It's a system. It is anti-Blackness in public education. And the systemic structure of institutional racism, white supremacy, pits us against each other. That's what the system does. That's what the system has done since enslavement. And we need to be cognizant of that, so we're mindful of who the target is and who, for lack of a better word, the enemy is. Because we are fighting a war for the survival and for the education and for ending the indoctrination of our Black students. Now, here's another statistic. Black students are the only group overrepresented in special education. Now, just think, 29%. They're 29% of the population, but 43% of Black students are in substantially separate classrooms. Those who are in special education, comprise 43% of substantially separate classrooms. Why am I saying that? Because the district is saying it's moving to inclusion, but they're leaving our black students behind. When a student is segregated, and this is segregation, they get less resources, they get less support, they get less qualified teachers, and they also graduate less. And if you couple that with the statistics that I gave you about physical restraint, seclusion, and suspension, it is a horrific experience. Many of you who are sitting in this room are here not because you thrived in Boston Public Schools, but you, like myself, survived it. And I, for example, went back to Boston Public Schools to be the teacher that I needed and didn't have for students who look like me. So let's talk a little bit more about how anti-blackness is embedded in policies, practices, and daily decision-making. It shows up in disproportionate discipline where students are punished harshly for the same behavior of non-black students. That still happens in BPS. It shows up in academic marginalization where black students are overrepresented in special education and underrepresented in advanced placements and exam schools. So you flip the switch and that's what you see. So we don't see a recognition and awareness of black excellence. Our students are not, they don't show up in curriculum gaps. It shows up in curriculum gaps and cultural erasure. What are our students learning about their history, about where they come from? Even right here in the city of Boston, black history and black voices are minimized or excluded. These are not isolated issues. They're consistent outcomes produced by a system that was not designed for us. Public education was founded in 1635. In 1635, black people were still enslaved in Massachusetts for almost another 150 years. And think about who built those institutions like Harvard University, like these public schools. They were built on the backs of our ancestors. So when we talk about opportunity gaps, I want to kind of flip the switch here. Let's kind of think about, first of all, exam schools. So I already said that the opposite of the pattern of special education exists in exam schools, where we see an overrepresentation of black students in special ed and an underrepresentation in advanced classes or exam schools. The previous administration spent a year engaging families, running focus groups and a task force to make modest changes. Now I want you to think about how white supremacy culture and systemic systems of racism may morph a little bit to give us maybe a slight edge, but then they sort of spring back to where they were before. So during the last administration, there was a year-long project to make exam school admissions more equitable. When this current administration came in, it took 6 months for the superintendent to reverse that. So just think about how there's a looping effect when it comes to racism. The system always loops back to its original design. At the same time, the district eliminated all key racial equity structures. For example, the Racial Equity Community Roundtable is gone. The Racial Equity Planning Tool has been abandoned. The Racial Equity Impact Statements are no longer conducted. The Racial Equity Dashboard was abandoned. The Restorative Justice Initiative is now unheard of. This did not happen because of what's happening nationally in the country. This happened prior to that with the new administration. The Equity Office is closed, and now it's reopened as the Office for Civil Rights, but complaints about students go unanswered. And so if you look at who is manning these, it's not as important as who is controlling the system, because the system controls and manages anyone who works within it. And so and I'm saying this as someone who worked at BPS for 33 years, as an educator, and then eventually I moved into a central office position. You have two options in Boston Public Schools. You capitulate to the system and you go along to get along, which means that you adopt a white-centered narrative, or you fight the system and you are continually under fire because you are considered a troublemaker. How many troublemakers do we have in the house? Can we get an amen for the troublemakers? I'm going to if we look at all of this data, what we know for sure is that in Boston Public Schools, it took, what, 20 years for them to desegregate after Brown versus Board of Education, right? And then when they did, I know my sister, I had two sisters who went to South Boston High. I'm not gonna get into that. But what we know is that we have the same in the community, that Boston is the old Mississippi. You know, it's the new Mississippi. It's never, the city is violence that our children suffered, and for what? So now here we are in 2026, right? And we know that our schools are more segregated than ever. We know one thing for sure is that if you live in the Back Bay, if you live in the North End, if you live in Charlestown, your chances of going to a high-performing school that is well-resourced and highly funded with teachers who are experienced, where the staffing never changes, is probably close to over 90%. But if you live in Mattapan or in a Black community, you are, because BPS has assignment algorithms that are racially based on neighborhoods, your child is going to be assigned to an underfunded school that has poor resources with probably new teachers or long-term subs, and it's going to be a chronically failing school. Is it because of our students? No. It is because this system does not recognize Black excellence. Can I hear for Black excellence? But the other piece of it is that it is designed to destroy the creativity, the innate gifts and talents of our children. And that's where the school to prison pipeline comes in. This is not accidental. And so what I want to say here, and I just want to make sure that I end with my note that I wanted to say, is that the system is not equal. Where you live, what school you go to, and your family background, if you are a Black family, you are going to get less in this system. This is taxation without representation. Absent of having our own schools, can I hear for having our own schools? That's what we need. We need our own schools because we know that before desegregation, Black Bostonians started our own schools. We educated our own children. And desegregation destroyed all that and forced us into these racist schools with teachers who didn't care about us. And so here we are, generations later, still feeling the fallout of that. And so what we need to do now is understand that despite the fact that we as Black folks built this country during enslavement, when we were kidnapped and brought here and forced to labor for centuries to build this nation and create everything that exists today. And we fought for others. We know that we are alone. And so what do we do now to save our children? Because our children are being harmed by a system that doesn't care about them. They have been eradicated, erased, and not talked about. So it is up to us to determine what we do next to support these young people who feel choked out by the system. Thank you so much.
I know it's hard because they know so much. But tonight wasn't about telling you everything you need to know, but it is about telling you the reason for this season is that the decisions that are made in the next month or two by the councilors with respect to the budget for the city is going to determine how much money is going to be spent on the children that Nita talked about. It's also to remind you that in 2021, 90% of the people for the first time in the history of an election in the city of Boston, every single precinct in the city voted a majority to return to an elected school committee. No other message referendum ever has been on our ballot that had, so every single one of the 252 precincts in the city of Boston voted to return to an elected school committee. That's why you're here, okay? And we can talk about what's happening. So, bottom line, the Boston Public Schools are, what, 48 billion? 50, what is it? $47 billion in debt in the hole. And so what's happened to fix it? They're rolling black people out of there in buckets. That's what's happening. All of the black males that taught at the Mel King School are gone, except one. And a student body population that's 90% black and Latino. One. None of this makes sense. And so we just need to figure out what we're going to do about it. But I would submit to you that our focus ought to be a conversation about how we get what we paid for, what we asked for, and that is an elected school committee to start. So that there's actually somebody to go to and talk to. And in that moment, let me just tell you that on Saturday, what was the 7th? Saturday? Our beloved Dr. Jean McGuire celebrated her 95th birthday. And I saw her last Wednesday because Louis Elise and I picked her up because she wanted to sit in the Supreme Judicial Court and listen to the hearing on White Stadium. And I had to tell her family I lost her twice because she moved so fast. I turned around, she was gone, and I'm saying, like, I can't go home without you. Where did she go, right? But when you think about a time when we were represented in our school committee, elected school committee, you're going to be thinking about Dr. McGuire. I just want to say, to acknowledge the elected officials that have come in, the councilors since we started. We did acknowledge that Councilor Enrique Pepin was here. We acknowledged Councilor Julia Mejia was here, and that Councilor Culpepper and Councilor Worrell were here. And since then, Councilor Santana and Councilor Lucian have joined us, so they are all six. They are here. Rodney Singleton gonna talk about the money. Where it is and where it ain't. And again, to try to do this in 7 to 10 minutes but we just want to give you an overview. He'll do it. Rodney Singleton.
Thank you, Diane. Good to see you guys. Good to be here. So I actually have a couple questions to start off as well. So we know the city budget's about $4.5 billion. And what do we think the contracting budget, since we're, concerned about contracting dollars is what we're going to talk about. That is roughly $700 million. And so how much of that $700 million do you think actually goes to firms of color is the question. I want you to just think about that for a hot second. I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. So I've been on lots and lots of committees, always trying to fight for our place in a lot of these contracting positions as a PRC member or IAG member or just a concerned citizen trying to make sure that the city and contractors do right in terms of contracting and we get our share of what is due, especially given that a lot of this contracting is actually happening in our neighborhoods. And so just think about that first question I asked you, and then I'm going to actually sort of talk about White Stadium a little bit, because I think that's actually a good place to start, because I think recently we had it was a good hearing that Councilman here had, where we were talking about some really important things, and I think a lot of councilors had really good questions, and in fact, I think Councilor Culpepper and Councilor Worrell, they really were trying to hold the city's feet to the fire. And so, let's see. To start off with, the Globe reported that MWBE spending so far has been roughly 43%. Okay, just keep that number in your mind. And then they've got a city website where they actually break out how the money was spent. And if you go onto their website, it's a little frustrating, but I did spend a little time with the website to actually get familiar with it and all the numbers that are there. Okay, so I'll break them down as quickly as I can for you. So far what's been spent is roughly $102 million. And I'm gonna come back to that first question I asked you in the beginning, so think about that. So $102 million has been spent, where roughly 43% of that they claim is being spent on MWBEs. Now, the city is actually partnered with folks in this project. Their contribution is going to be $135 million, and Jennifer Epstein and company, they're going to spend $191 million. But let's just focus on the city for now. So, of that $102 million that was spent, the city spent roughly $37 million in the ballpark, roughly speaking. And I would ask you, what do you think the commitment to black businesses the city has? Right, that's a key question, because remember, the contracting budget is big, it's money, it's our tax dollars. How much of that are we getting? Well, it turns out that we're not getting very much, as a matter of fact. And so of that $37 million, all black contractors only got about $1.5 million of that $37 million. And that's roughly about 4.25%. Now, the case is even worse for businesses of color that do business in the city of Boston. So that number is just about 2%, or $877,000. So the city spent $37 million nearly, and could only find $877,000 to spend with black Bostonians who do business. That is just awful. Just awful. And so, lastly, I want you to think about who makes up the city of Boston. Half the people in this city identify as people of color, so that means we're roughly 50%, and we're only getting about 2.4% of the benefit. And so, back to the first question I asked you, of the $700 million, do you believe that this administration is telling you that that number is good? I don't think so. That's all I have.
So you're not getting any grants, you're not getting any contracts, but you're gonna keep paying those fines, the tickets, the excise tax, and all the other things that come with a price tag that we pay to make this city run. Okay, we say this one for last for a reason, because I think it will help us segue into the second part of the conversation. Reggie Stewart has become something of our expert on process, on city council and how they worked, and trained under the incredible leadership of former councilors Tanya Fernandez-Anderson. And we have him here. He's going to do a very brief presentation, and what you're going to see on the overhead really was the crux of the conversation that we had with the councilors in March. And that is, really didn't bring you here, that it wasn't about just as editorializing, just the facts. We looked at your votes, and we have questions. You're going to look at the votes, and you're going to have questions. Some of those questions will be good, some will not, but you're going to look at the votes, and you're going to have questions. And then we're going to go into that conversation from you, hear from you. You know, there's mics here. We are going to want to hear from you. Trying to figure out the logistics of how we get the councilors to speak, but we really do want to hear from audience as well. But Reggie, let me turn this over to you.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, councilors, for being here. State of the City Council. Just before I start, as I was reflecting on the previous meeting that was had and the conversation surrounding it, and even during my time under Councilor Anderson, I was struggling to figure out what is the takeaway from these conversations. And I heard a wise woman say, We don't need any black faces that do not want to be a black voice. And that was the takeaway from, there was a statement or a sentiment that came away from that meeting with the electeds. That's what I heard people say. And I also heard them say this, change can't wait. You know, the schools are closing right now, people are being displaced right now, black businesses are being divested from right now, so therefore change can't wait. But we'll get into these. And the questions that came away is, where is your voice? But in addition to that, there's a layer under that, or where is your vote? But under that is, where is your voice? Because there's your vote, and then there's your voice. What does your advocacy look like? What does the logic behind the choices that you make, what does that signal to your constituents? And I think that's where a lot of the frustration of people came from, that there's a disconnect between the decisions that are being made, the logic that's behind it, and what that signals to the constituents. And this is from the District 7 workbook that Councilor Anderson put together. Kind of a combination of voice and votes, per her analysis, and that's where our elected officials are. I won't spend a lot of time here, but if you want to look at the District 7 workbook, if you've signed in, we'll make sure that you get the whole thing, the whole analysis of that. But this is just kind of leading up to where we are now. Where we're going to start, this is where the conversation kind of started. This is, where is your vote? And just so that everyone can kind of follow along, at the bottom is our Black and Latino officials. And we can see how they voted and how that affected the outcome. Obviously, Councilor Worrell was not elected as president, so people want to know where was your vote and where was your voice? And when we get to the council rules, Rule 36, vote to amend the council rules, adjusting the scope of the Education Committee to include BPS budget oversight. Something that we have done before under the late Chuck Turner. And again, this is how the vote turned out, and yeah, 6-7. And so if I have six electeds of color, and what are we doing? Now here's where kind of the nuance and the voice piece comes in. This is a resolution to move this is regarding the Blue Hill Avenue issue, the Blue Hill Avenue corridor. Move the issue out of planning, development, transportation into the Civil Rights Committee. Now, there's the idea that, all things regarding transportation or how we change or adjust that, it absolutely, technically, in terms of process, it should go, under transportation, development, and planning. However, if you're using your voice to advocate for Black people, and you don't understand the moment that we're in regarding Blue Hill Ave, you won't understand what it means to go into the Civil Rights Committee. And it's not something that would just totally upend process, because we know that the administration doesn't have a whole lot of regard for process, so I don't buy that. Here's another resolution calling. This was recent, and this kind of gets back again to voice. Resolution calling for an independent performance audit of Boston Public Schools spending, staffing, and resource allocation. And then in addition, a resolution calling for an independent performance audit of the City of Boston's operations and fiscal management. Now, the conversation that was had in the chambers, particularly from the viewpoint of Councilor Coletta Sabata, she rightly named that we already have an annual audit process, external audit process, and that there's internal audits being done. But again, what is the moment that we're in? What are the constituents signaling to us? They're signaling to us that they don't trust our math. And that the city is not honest and transparent about where the money goes, how it moves, the decisions being made, around that. That's why they want an audit. Now, granted, yes, the audit exists, so procedurally speaking, it is correct, but the moment demands a higher level of transparency. And I don't think that it would have hurt to pass that and to signal to your constituents that I take this seriously. No laws is being changed, no ordinance, but the message that is sent and the message that is received by the constituents, it leaves them a little confused, especially in light of budget, deficits, 48 million in the hole, and you have a BPS shortfall of 53 million. And what's crazy is that advocates were asking for a 1% increase, based on the operating budget, which came out to 48 million. I hated accounting in school, but we're going to do a little math. This is the 53 million BPS shortfall and the budget ask from advocates, so that's 101 million. A lot of money, but when you throw away 135 million on a vanity project, because at this point, that's what it is. All right, we're not going to do this. Yeah, we're not going to do this. There will be time for you to speak. There will be time for you to speak.
Can you all please ask the security guard to come in here? Ask him to come in. Because I've asked her twice to come to the mic. I asked you 3 times to come to the mic. No, I invited you to the mic. I invited you to the mic. Let's go. Let's go. Get your money back. Let's go. Thank you. It's just laying out those facts. No editorializing. He's running down the facts. And I think we're ready to go on this piece. We're ready to go to the next piece.
So people naturally have questions when 135 million is committed to this project, when we have students in dire need, and to the senator's point, black male teachers being laid off, schools closing, and this is all BPS. So to a lot of people, This does not make sense, and the math does not add up. And so, where is your voice, and where is your voice?
Let's get to it. You don't even have to come up. I'm gonna hand, you can use this one, or you can go there and take this one off. We're gonna have a conversation. Okay? What we asked Jaquetta to do was to start us off with the whole purpose of why we're here. Talk about accountability. It's not a curse word, it's not an insult, it's an expectation. You know, we just want to talk about what that means and how we believe we get to it with our elected officials. And this is not a comfortable conversation, I know. That's why I respect that they're all here. I want to continue to be respectful.
So the way I'd like to frame the conversation is just to start with 4 points on what we consider accountability and what that looks like. And yes, it will be uncomfortable because some of the accountability lands with people who look like you. And that's a hard conversation because we don't want to put our business out in the street in front of white folks when we're talking to each other, but some of them are aligning with the very people who are oppressing us. So the first one is, I want to remind everyone that representation is a contract, not a gift. And an election is not a reward for your past service. I don't care about what you did in 1993. I care about what you do now. It's a hiring process. And I want to shout out Councilor Mejia because she talks about this often, that this is a job. This is not her life's work only. It's a job. She goes up there to work. Challenging your representatives ensures that they remember that their authority comes directly from the people. And when we stop questioning them, they often drift towards servicing special interests or personal and political gain rather than the district's needs. Accountability is the antidote to the status quo. Politics itself, without active citizen participation, like everyone here in this room, is it's pressure that comes from this. Is people always talk about keep your foot on their necks, and I certainly want to do that, and I make no bones about who I like and who I don't like on the city council, who I like and I don't like on the 5th floor. I say that directly because I'm a homeowner and a citizen and a resident and a taxpayer in Roxbury. So I don't owe any of them my friendship or a pass. There's a double responsibility that representatives of color have, and we all can have this honest conversation. While representatives of color are often essential for bringing marginalized voices to the table, they must be held to the same and sometimes an even higher ethical and standard for performance. Looking like the community is a start, but it doesn't automatically mean that their policies will advance the community's progress. In other words, you can look like me, but if you don't represent my values, you're just a spook who sat next to the door. Holding our own accountable prevents descriptive representation from being used as a shield to hide inaction and corruption. Protecting the community's political currency, Black power. Every time a representative of color fails to deliver for their district without being challenged, it devalues the community's collective political power. So when you hear people say, well, Boston has no Black people, that's a lie. What we don't have enough of is Black political power. So with these 4 notes, I want to remind you that demanding accountability from those leaders is an act of communal self-respect. It ensures that Black and brown seats is a seat of actual power and progress, and not a placeholder for party establishment. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care if you're Dominican, Cape Verdean. I don't care if you're a Black person from South Carolina or a Bostonian like me. I'm gonna walk up to you, tell you I got a problem, and you're gonna fix it, because that's what I hired you to do when I went into that booth. So, with those 4 points, Miss Ma'am, with those 4 points, we'd like to open the conversation. Oh, okay, I'm gonna say.
One more, and that is, we thought it was important for you to know what our conversation, how our conversation concluded, I would say, on March 8th. So you'll know why you're here. I want you to know what we said. You can say, nope, I don't agree. You can say, yep, where do I sign up? But I'm going to ask Matt Hudson to come. I'll hand you the mic now. And while he's coming, I would like to have the folks who were present at the meeting just stand and wave, because I think there may be some misunderstanding about who the people were that were there all over our community. It wasn't, we get afraid, well, who are invited and who are leaders. It wasn't about self-appointed leaders. There were two of them. We try to think of people who were running organizations, doing things on the ground, not just somebody who was active or education, but running organizations within this community, right? And so we didn't get them all, but we wanted to have a representative group. And so there was over 30 people. Hardly the quiet in the corner, you know, who these people are representing. But I want you to hear, it was important that we had Matt Hudson there, because Matt has been, since the summer, working every Thursday convening on the Black Agenda Coalition. And some people had some, you know, we always criticize, right? Because we never satisfied. I think that's what we do. But Matt, please talk about, really, you summed it up.
Well, I think there's 2 things I think we need to be real cognizant of. One, we have not developed a unified plan and discussed it among ourselves so that we can then hold our elected officials responsible. So what we've been doing at the Black Agenda Coalition is we have developed that format or talking points around the conversation in which we hope to start having community discussions so that we can get everyone's input who wants to have input in it. That's the goal. But what we've been seeing is that our elected officials, without that level of understanding, have decided to try to decide on their own what was best for us, right? And others really playing self-gain for their own purpose. And so the point of that discussion, for me, and for most of us in that room, was to send a message. It wasn't to be personal. It was to say we had enough as the Black community, that you cannot stay in these positions without some level of consequences. And if you do, if you continue on this path, we will work against you. We will make sure we do everything possible to get you out of those seats. Because we are losing. There are folks out here in which I know, you know, who are dying, don't have opportunities, and we keep making excuses for why that's not happening. Now, I just want to say that part of the reason why we need to get at this Black agenda together is because if we don't have a plan, then it allows everybody else to have a plan for us. And that's what we've been seeing for the last 30 years. I want to speak to one last thing before I go, so that we are clear. Whenever our elected officials, I don't care where they sit, whenever our elected officials stop thinking that we work for them, not that they work for us, there is a fundamental disconnect. And they themselves start doing the same thing white folks have done to us every single day here before they
but I understand it's tough talk, because we haven't been doing that here. And we have, let me just say too that there's a difference of opinion, and we don't have to all agree, right? But Carrie said something that I want you to think about. She talked about the role of young people. There would have been no civil rights movement had it not been for young people. The other thing is, no one has been more focused on getting to the point of getting that agenda on paper than that. And some of what we've seen in the chamber might be explained by they didn't know. You really think that they didn't know we wanted Brian Worrell to be the president? No, I'm saying because here's the thing. Choosing a life of public service is choosing a life in public. You know, I had this conversation with my grandson today. He was talking about the coach of the Patriots, about what he does on the rooftop is his business. No, it's not. 24/7, he's the coach of the Patriots. You don't turn off at 5. When you're elected official, you're elected official. It's 24/7. There's no time to turn it off. Right? And so, my point to what Matt said about the need to draft this agenda, he's so right. But I also want to say this. My life is not about unanimity. My life is about consensus enough to get stuff done. And for Black people, we've never had any success because everybody was on the same page. Don't let them rewrite the history. They hated MLK. They hated Malcolm X. They hate Louis Farrakhan. They'll talk about him like he was an angel when he's gone, but while he was here, they don't know. No. And some of the worst perpetrators were the Black ministers sitting over there in the corner, right? So I only say that to say, when you say we can't do anything until we're unified, you are excusing behavior for everybody. And that's not how it works. Okay, it's just not. We're not gonna move until everything's working, everything's fine, we'll never move. We would never leave this room. So, as they say, chewing gum, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can work for better while we're doing life right now. And right now, our Black children who are dependent on their education from BPS and our Latino children, especially the boys, are in trouble. They're in crisis. We should be standing in front of every building in the city screaming to save them, because there is nothing going on in there that is about their empowerment, their future, and those that have this because they have an independent support system to make it work for them. And given what we spend for this, we deserve better. Period. Right? So how we get there? So that's what I want to hear from you again. We have all the elected officials here, and when we first talked about this town hall meeting, we weren't going to have them here because we wanted to hear from you. Then, like I said, we're not perfect. Then it didn't make sense not to. And they're all here. So maybe you can talk and share some of the things you want them to hear. Because this whole notion, and I think they can tell by the response to what Matt said, that we're serious. You either get it right or you get gone. So that's why it was so important to have all those young people up there, because we come up the legs, the same legs that we use in the civil rights, we're going to use these same legs. One more housekeeping matter. I was never supposed to be here all this time, but Mike got stuck. He's been texting us. Is press. And if this is what we're asking on your honor. Are there members of the press in this room? I want them to say, here we are, raise your hand. Okay, there's one over there. No, don't clap, I'm asking for a reason. So on your honor, there's one member of the press in here. Uh-oh, no, I see another hand waving, so there's two. Here's what we're asking. We were never going to be in a position where we were standing at the door blocking you, but we are asking you, with all due respect, to take what you're hearing off the record. We're asking you to do that. You may not, and you may, but that's we're asking. We're not trying to, we won't embarrass anybody. That's not what this is about for us. This is the first ever kind of conversation we've had like this, right? I do want you all to start coming to the mic, because we're there. So if you have some questions you want to say. I know, Cornell, you said they're index cards, because we want to take some notes up here too. Some of us in the back. Angela, I'm going to take some. Wait a minute, my paper's over there. I'm going to take some notes because I don't want people just to be talking to be talking. Because this is serious business. Yes, okay. Say. Okay, yeah. You know, they do. We just raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. Michael, where are you? No, I can't see past the curve. I've been giving them your travel, like every time we get a text. I said, Michael,
So I want to apologize that I'm late. I had another function and I wanted to get over here. So I got here for the most important part, which is hearing from the community. So I'm not going to get in the way of that. So I'm just going to facilitate as we go back and forth for hearing from the community. But I want to do something before we do that. For those who are older, and I count myself in that group, I'll be 58 this year. I've been doing this since I was in my teens. And when you've been around that long, then you've been in a room with some of the architects of this movement who've been talking about this way before today. Literally, these meetings go back many, many years, and these issues go back many years. Many of them are in the room. Give them a round of applause, please. C.D. Kimball, Diane Wilson, Professor Kamara. There's so many people in this room who do this work every day when nobody else was listening. So I just want to make sure we acknowledge that. Let me go to you first, Susan. Try to be brief as much as possible so we can get through as many people.
They have a minute to ask a question. Yeah, don't come out. This is wonderful. A minute to ask a question. So
So a question. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for holding this space. Thank you all for your work. My name is Aziza Robinson. Good night. I am the founder and co-director of Repair America Collective and one of the a part of the inaugural cohort of the Overstreet Reparations Bar Association. So if I was a problem before, I would be more of a problem in the coming year.
Say that.
My question, as the world is talking about reparations, we have come further and further, I'm talking to city councils, away from the priorities that was asked for by the Black community. In the time that we have worked with some of you to get to that point, you have passed policy and legislation that excludes Black America. I'm not talking about Black America or colored or whatever y'all call it, Black America.
I'm gonna ask this, because we did this at the last meeting. Don't clap. Just so we can get through the conversation, where it doesn't become performative, where people looking for a clap. Just let it be a conversation.
So my question, is this question to you or them? Oh, my question is to us all, to everyone in this room. As we are in budget season, what specifically, because you guys advocate for budget, what are your priorities for Black America, that does not help your own community.
I'm sorry, what's the end of that?
That does not help your own community. You have one Black American in the city council. Everybody else is not. And so, what policy or what are you gonna do during budget season? This one, not next one, not whatever down the line. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna advocate for us? Because there's nothing left. Y'all decimated it all. It's gone. So this budget season is ours.
Can we get another microphone, if there is one? For the councilors. I'll hand my mic over to them. Let me a few things. So Aziza mentioned reparations, of course, for those who've been paying attention to the news over the last 2 weeks. Ghana advanced a reparations resolution to the United Nations that was passed, and the United States opposed it, along with, I think, 1 or 2 other countries. Argentina and Israel. Disappointing. And her question in part was around where are we as a city around reparations, but also, Aziza, I'm gonna, yeah?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the councilors to take their notes. If you start and let them,
Oh, okay.
look at the line. Right. So let us get them all, and they can have their notes.
So I love that. So what the senator suggested is we're gonna ask the council to take notes on all of your comments. So then we'll give them time on the back end to respond. So they'll all have a chance to do that. So we get more of you to make the comments. Aziz, I'm not sure what you meant, but I get cautious when we talk about who's Black and who's not Black. So we gotta be careful with that because Caribbean folks are Black. Cape Verdean folks are Black. And then there's native born Black Americans. No, I'm just saying that what we do is in our community, divide our community so much.
But that's what's happened, okay?
But we don't have to play into it, Aziz.
They have played into it.
We don't have to play into it. Oh, that's my only point. That's my only point. We can decide that we don't have to segregate ourselves on who's Black and who's not Black. Yeah. Let me go here.
To piggyback on that, we are all Black people. We come from different places. And so my family is Black American. And so I think the distinction gets lost in the fact that Black in America means 2 things. It represents an entire people, but it also represents an ethnicity. And so our ethnicity as Black Americans means that our generations have been here for 400, 500, 600 years. So I think that's what the sister's saying.
That's right.
No disrespect to our Caribbean Black people.
I just want to be clear on what that is. Because we do this game with Black and Black enough, so.
I understand I don't want to use up a lot of time on this, but it is an important distinction because it gets confusing because we are all Black people, but many people don't know what is a Black American because our name has changed many times. But the census sees us as Black Americans, or if you are Latino, not Black, or white Latino, there's different things. So I think it's an important thing that she said, an important conversation for us so we can learn about each other, not separate. Okay, so I just want to do that.
I'm going to do that just one point,
Yeah.
which is for Haitians and other Black folks. Now, this is an important point. I'm just making this while we're here.
Not to lose my time, but brother, here's the thing.
I'm just making a good point.
We all know it. We all know it.
I was just trying to
I understand. I'm not sure where your descendants is in terms of our African
We're
but I don't want to
finish this point.
So let me say this. My name is Maurice Hardaway. I am the 2nd generation owner of Final Touch with Class Boutique in Nubian Square. My family came up during the Great Migration from Texas and South Carolina. I am Geechee. I am Native American. I'm a little Irish. I am all American. My family business has been in existence for 20 years, celebrating 10 years in Nubian Square, aka Dudley. In 17 days, we have to leave. We have spent 20 years investing in a cultural landmark, and now we have to close. We hit some hard times in the last 18 months because of tariffs, because of the economy, because of many things. We lost both my brothers year after year. It's only been 9 months since the last one, and my family has been through a lot. But we have struggled to maintain. We opened our business with no one's help. We always pay our rent, but we hit a hard time. We are in the bowling building, that beautiful building that the city built. I want to acknowledge the support from the city councilors who have worked so hard to put our word out there. Julia, Ruthie, oh my goodness, the elected officials, the state officials, from China to Ayanna Presley to Liz Miranda. Thank you for that support. Because we gotta tell people when we're doing it right?
Thank you.
But I'm sorry, hold on. Because Black American businesses are being erased.
That's right.
And Union Square is being erased. So I'm gonna take my time because I have fought for everybody else, and I need this community to fight for us. So what I'm asking the elected officials to do
So I'm gonna ask you
is to
this, at least keep it brief, because a lot of people waiting with other points to make. Okay, I'm asking you, just keep it brief. They set the rule at 1 minute, so.
Okay, listen, no disrespect to the panel. What I need the sister asked what you want to do for this whole community. We need help. We need time. We need your support, city councilors, and I just want to give a shout out to Culpepper because he called. He called and he's doing the work to help us. But we need all of your support from the city council to help us stay in that building. So that's why I'm here. I don't want to be erased from Union Square, and I need everybody's help, and I need the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to lift up that I know Chris and Kaidi posted today that Newey Marcus is also on the brink of closing as well. Black Market.
Black Market, Hugh Boston, Final Touch. Y'all, this is all connected. The reason why we support black businesses is because they hire black people. And so the black businesses are not getting business, they can't hire black people. And so they're not going to be able to go and patronize the Final Touch, the Hugh Boston, Black Market. This is connected. Just see that connection. We really want to hear your question. You have six sitting city councilors there, like here, in one spot, right? Probably all nervous that we don't do anything to violate public meeting law, because they can't discuss things that they are deliberating about. So this is for you to see that you can do. So do it. Decide.
All right, so I want to kind of just back up 1 second, Senator, because it ain't just Matt Hudson working on the Black agenda. There is a collective community of us that are working and has been working for a very long time on this issue, including yourself. So I want to kind of just acknowledge that. John, just want to acknowledge that, right? Second, I think we have to be more strategic, right? We have this abundance of history before us of what has not worked. So when we talk about just moving out of emotions and getting to a level of self-gratification, that has not served us as a community. We have to be more strategic. This is why people with a plan actually has implemented that plan over a course of 30 years. I've been locked up 33 years, and I heard about what was going to happen when I was a kid about what we are calling now gentrification, and it has taken place. So I want to clear that. Second thing, and most importantly, those tax dollars are our dollars. We pay taxes on that. So we should be very concerned about where that money is going and how it's being allocated. And so I would say to my councilors, who should be listening to us, right? That, look, we ain't trying to hear another 53-something million going to the Boston Police Department and cutting all our programs out for folks who are coming home in need of that money. There are shelters, there are services that we can't compromise. And so I would say I don't care what what you call it, what you gotta do, who y'all gotta talk to among each other, right? But there need to be a consensus that that money needs to be reallocated and it should not pass. That budget should not pass as it is, and you can do something about it.
Hold on. Hold on.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So good to see y'all. I was wondering when y'all was gonna get moving. I've been down dealing with medical issues for over 20 years. I literally died more than once. I've been involved in my community since the age of 9. There's not an elected official in no generation that was born after 1959 that I didn't participate in. Not one. And what I see today made me crawl out my bed to come here.
Come on now.
I'm not coming here to talk. It's time to go to work. Plain and simple. It's time to tell the truth. Now, we can't afford to be divided. That's 100% right. Unity is the key. And one of the people that's been saying that for over 50 years, it's called the Nation of Islam. That brother sitting right there. I remember him when he was the age of the ones in that corner right there. And I'm hearing from Matt Hudson. So he up calling everybody out. Everybody. Accountability starts with self. This is my job. And I'm saying to every African American, Caribbeans, hold up. I'm saying to every African American man in here, I'm coming to see you.
I know that's right.
And you need to be ready to go to work. They are killing our people. All you got to do is get on YouTube and look at black erasure in Boston. The information's out there. What is it going to take for you to go to work? So I'm going to be working with, you can't do everything. My focus is on African American men, starting with the fathers. The father got taken out, and now they're running rampant over our people. We got to bring the fathers back in. So I'm talking to the African American father, and I do want to thank the Caribbean. If it wasn't for the Caribbeans, we wouldn't be here. Anything we take from the Niagara movement. What is wrong with y'all? But we didn't walk away from anybody. You walked away from us. Let's be clear about it. Mel King, I can go all the way back. The Caribbeans is why we're here. So the younger Caribbeans, you need to get with the program. But I'm going to be dealing with the African Americans and leave the Caribbeans to the Caribbeans, and then we can come together and unite. This has got to change.
Thank you. We'll go to that side.
Okay, my comment is about community. There's a lot of black people in this room who need help, and they have nowhere to go to once we leave this room. It looks good, it looks like this is a community, but when you leave here, we don't have a community. And according to Dr. Clyde Anderson, a community is what you own and you control. We don't own and control anything. When we leave here, what do we own and control? We're being controlled, right? So another thing is these meetings. We need to have more town halls like this. Because if we're black people like myself, I want to get involved. When I leave here, there's things I want to do because individually, they're ignoring us. We reach out to these counselors, we email to the senators, we write letters, we go to meetings, but we get ignored. But if we come together, there's power in numbers, right?
So we need, like you said, this is our first meeting. This shouldn't be our first meeting. We should be meeting daily, weekly, I don't care. But we need a place to go to. Don't tell us we need to unite. And when we leave here, we have nowhere to go. And when we have problems, no one is addressing our issues. When we don't want to put something in our body, we're being forced to put something in our body to be employed, and there's no one to represent us. Immigrants got rights, they got lawyers, they got people they can go to, they got offices they can go to. We're the Black Americans, the people from here. I'm from here. This is where I'm from. And I need to know, where can I go? If I need help, if my kids need help, if her kids need help, where can we go in an office where we can go in and walk in and someone's going to help us and listen to us? This looks good, but when we go out there, that's not what's happening.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Right here. Really quick, make sure you sign in, because to the points that have been made tonight, if you come here just to have a good conversation, you leave, and you don't stay involved, then this is a waste of time. So make sure that you sign in so that they can communicate with you after this meeting, this town hall.
Yeah, friend Bill Singleton. First, hey, guys. I want to thank Senator Wilkins and Reggie, Singleton, and you, and all of our representatives, and the young people that are here tonight. I want to thank them and give them a hand, first of all. I'm going to be brief. But thank you for the young people, especially. They're learning things that happen today, how to play. My question is, based upon this, the acid test of leadership can be found in the numbers, and the mathematics of morality require that we count. So I'm asking you, and our nice city councilors, and the people here, how are we going to measure our success if we don't meet regularly, like this young lady said? Lastly, we are all here in one boat. Racists aren't going to stop to ask you whether you're from Harlem or Kansas City or Haiti or Nigeria. They're not going to stop. They're just going to beat you up. So we need to unite and conquer. We need to come together and stop internecine fighting that divides us and demeans us. And I am calling for you to tell us, to help us, counselors, will you help us meet in a regular fashion to measure your success happiness? Because we need that, and that's my question.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I go here, I just want to acknowledge Stephanie Everett is here, the Register of Probate. Can we give her a round of applause, please? That's a really important position to be in our judicial system. Cindy Diggs.
Hi, everybody. Y'all got me out of my retirement to come here tonight because I'm really upset. I'm going to tell you all, and I would like to just hear one voice because we're talking about some important things. So please take your conversations outside because that's the teacher in me. So Nubian Square is in a fight for its life. Anyone who knows me knows that I went down to Nubian Square at the very beginning of the pandemic and did everything that I could to get some of my friends to come out and shop. I sent a message out that said, I need 20 of my friends to come and spend $20. My people were one of those friends that came out. And right now, as of April 30th, one of the stores that I work with, there were 7 at the time, and now we're probably down to 4 that are still there. And this is happening on a regular basis. Part of it is because we don't come out and support. We've changed our shopping habits where we shop online only, but you will never receive the type of customer service that you get at Final Touch Boutique. There's a message at the airport, if you hear it, that the mayor is inviting people that are here to visit us to go to Nubian Square. But by the time they come here, there's not going to be anything in Nubian Square. I'm in Frugal Bookstore when the tourists come to town, And they say, well, where else can we go? Because we've only heard about this shop. And I said, we'll go over to Final Touch Boutique. And now that's gonna be gone. And my question is, what is gonna happen on May 1st? With all those businesses closing on the same day? And one point that I will make is that 2 years ago, in 2024, I got a good friend of mine, because I'm very well connected, who is the was the director of marketing and business development for an architectural firm, who one of their projects was the Smithsonian Museum. And I asked her for a favor to do a marketing plan for Nubian Square, and she sent that proposal to Roxbury Main Street. I'm still hearing other people talking. And she didn't even get a response. If we had had that marketing plan 2 years ago, we wouldn't be here. And it just makes me think that with all of these things coming to Boston, the FIFA soccer that's coming, we never get to see any of that business come to the Black community. People are asking if Black people live here because we don't have a space for people to go to.
Folks, once again, thank you, Cindy. Can we just be respectful? We're used to doing meetings with kids running around. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the adults that are talking in the little cabals and the conversations, if you could. Plus, very important information being shared. Second, Angela Williams, where are you? Angela Williams Mitchell. See her waving? Nothing more important than you making sure that you sign up. When people say they want to come to meetings, they want to come back, we need to be able to contact you. Please make sure that if you haven't already, that you sign up, get your information so that when the next meeting is scheduled, it will happen soon, you'll be on.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Cindy. I have to get some other people.
All right, let me just make this final point. Our Black dollars matter. Please spend them in Nubian Square. This Sunday, I'm going to be hosting a tea party for people to come out and shop after church and the mosque. So please come and spend your dollars to help them with their next steps.
So, specifically to the question of the one business in Nubian Square that we heard from the brother earlier, and then the general question about what are we doing about Nubian Square, the businesses in that area, we do want a response from the city councilors. I know Reverend Culpepper, Councilor Culpepper has to step out in a minute, but his staff is here taking notes.
So my name is Justin Rodriguez, and tonight was about accountability, right? And I want to show what accountability looks like in practice, right? So I'll start with my public apology, right? I'm formerly incarcerated, right? So as a public apology, I want to apologize to everybody in here for my ignorance, right, and my negative contribution. But I returned home about 2 months ago, right? And I've been very active with a couple of organizations that do, outstanding work. I came from Norfolk, which actually I remember, Councilor McGee, you visited, and I want to thank you because that meant so much, right? Because you gave us hope in coming home and contributing, right? Councilor Worrell, I'm in your district. And I'm also familiar with Diane Wilkerson. I've been very engaged, I've been very educated, I've been studying at the working, right? But now I'm coming home into this climate, right? And I'm having a difficult time, right? Not just with opportunity, but just with the mindset coming from the nature that I came from. So when we look at the interpersonal, right? I'm not looking at races, or the structural as just a color thing. I'm looking at it as a parasite. So I don't know who loses the backbone, right? When they get into these rooms and have these conversations about money and allocations and appropriations. But I'm asking, right? So my ask is, how do more of us, especially formerly incarcerated, who have that backbone and know what that oppression looks like, and refuse to continue to stand for or to capitulate to it, right? How do we get involved, me and my people? I work with Empowerment Center communities to unlock democracy. I work with the Harriet Tubman Project. I'm still a member of AACC, right? Forever. And how do we end up or get into these conversations or to the table to say, no, I'll study, I'll read the policy, I'll look at it. This is wrong. Like this, okay, this would create this, right? I understand. I understand engineering. I understand structural issues. I want to address the structural issues, right? So my question is, how do we get connected, right? Not just myself, but anybody who's actually working in practice, in the field, to say, we're not doing this anymore.
Thank you, brother, and welcome home too. Very important that folks are taking notes. I'm going to remind people that there's other people in line. So the longer you take, it means you crowd out the ability for other people to make a comment. And everybody's voice matters today. So they go to Sister Reagan.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Dina, and I represent the Black autism community, right? And the special education community is one of the communities that we do not talk enough about, and I wrote something so that I don't go over time. So, I want to first, I'm going to toot my own horn as the first Black-owned mental health provider who specializes in supporting autism in the city of Boston. I have attended several IEP meetings with families for free, supported families through their IEP process, understanding their rights and all of the things. And so my comment is, the part, I've been doing this since 2014, right? And what's most disheartening is seeing providers from our own community competing for micro grants, right? We never get an opportunity to actually be a contractor despite us being licensed, independently licensed professionals, where we don't get the contractors. We are hiring people from out of state who don't know our community, don't know our kids, don't know our problems, don't know what we survive, don't know what it is that we're going through. They don't know the trauma of what it is for a parent to experience sitting across an IEP table being told all of these big words that they don't know the definition to. Nobody's willing to support them and really understanding what it is that their children are getting. And if they deny it, then their children get nothing. And so I am saying that we as a community don't need to flush out and bring in the big tech from California and this place and that place when we have people who have lived experience, 27-year-old son, professional experience, independently licensed mental health practitioner, and lived from Boston and been here my entire life. So my point is, can we stop ignoring the professionals that we have right here in our community who can provide the support that our community needs, and adding them to these contracts as a priority because they don't have to get to know the climate, they are the climate.
Thank you, sister. So two things. They're going to respond to you. What's your name again? Dina, they're going to respond to you, but make sure you and I exchange things. I work in healthcare, so I'll help as well. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samuel Pierce, and welcome to Roxbury Community College. This was supposed to be a highway. How many people know their history? And one of the things I wanted to just find out about is, up here in this room, we have BEAM, the Black Educators Alliance of Massachusetts. We have members of our two longest-serving Black organizations. And when are we going to stop allowing things to be defunct? And I say that because in the 1950s, Martin Luther King came here and he marched for education, housing, and jobs. And I'm still hearing the same issue. So my question is, how many of these little kids you see running around are going to be signed up for dual education here at Roxbury Community College? Because now you can be in high school and already be in college. How many people are going to take advantage of the fact that we have a right to vote and not allow the city council to do a home rule petition like they did in 2021 and take away our right to vote? How many people are going to be like Reverend Culpepper and pray with his feet, so if he doesn't like what he sees, he ran for office and won himself? How many people are willing to win by one vote like Councilor here? How many people are willing to open a food pantry like Sister Shirley Silver, because 46% of Massachusetts is food insecure. How many people are willing to be like James Mackey and do something different instead of talking about the same things? And so at this moment in time, we saw the Black NAACP conference go to South Boston, not come to Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mappin, and we act as if we're surprised when tourists do the same thing as Black people do. And so at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, when are we gonna ask to make sure that the reparations committee meets every month like they're supposed to, instead of just staring at each other? When are we gonna make sure that we have our Black elected officials in the archives of our Black schools so we know what the history is instead of just talking about it? And I do want to clarify one thing. The word American means Black in French. So we're not going to be talking about African Americans. Jesse Jackson's dead. We're not going to talk about Black Americans. We can talk about American freedom, but we can talk about Americans because, like the sister said, there's a lot of people that don't know words, and that's what the dictionary is for. How many people gonna look up the dictionary with American?
Appreciate you, man. Let's go over here now. You're up next.
Hello, my name is Wes Ward. I'm from Boston. I'm a Black American in Boston for 100 years. And I'm also a Caribbean on my mother's side, and was also a Black Trinity. So I'm Black American and Black Trinity. I'm also really quick. Councilors, we see the no votes. We see the resistance to transparency. Tell this room right now, do you represent the Black residents of Mattapan, Roxbury, and Dorchester? Brothers and sisters, look at your streets. Look how they're being occupied. Look at the mayor and the councilors speak of equity, but they give you optics while they take your land. They are using your tax dollars to fund a shovel that's digging your own grave, pricing you out to cater to a demographic that doesn't share your history, nor looks like you. When a representative votes against an audit or oversight, they are telling you that you don't have the right to know how your money is being used to colonize your neighborhoods. They don't want your vote. No, they want your vote, but they don't want your eyes. They want to carve out our community and take us from it and put a new group of people here. Stop begging for a seat at the table when the menu was already decided before you walked in. We don't need house servants for the establishment. We need a force for the people. If these counselors won't let you see the books, if these counselors aren't making decisions that is benefiting the people that is in this room today, and our brothers and sisters that couldn't make it today, then we must change who is in office.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. Right here.
How you doing? Can you hear?
Yeah, I talk closest mic.
Yeah, my name is John Smith Sincere. I'm the founder of the J.L. Smith Suicide Prevention Center for young Black boys. So I didn't write anything, so everything I say is respectful. I think it's really important for Black people to come together, like forums like this. But I think it's difficult if you come 90 minutes late and want to police our thoughts and our words. So I do think if it's gonna work, it's important for you guys to get off this like metaphoric stage and like really come sit with people, because you know I'm in the community all the time, every day, and I don't see a lot of people. And so I don't think that Black Boston is disconnected because of internal racism. I think we're disconnected because a lot of our elected and unelected leaders are full of shit, honestly. And I don't think that they have the best interests of the community at heart. So I think that's why we're disconnected. You know, racism has been going on forever, systemic racism in the schools. Like, there's never been a point in time where our schools have been good or our communities have been good. So we're in 2026, 80% of our kids can't read on level. Families are being displaced. We got White Stadium, Blue Hill Center bus lane, and we have 2 years to the next election. So why are we wasting time now to hold our electeds accountable when we already have their vote record? We already know what they stand. We need to be mobilizing today to get them out in 2028. So that's Pepin. Because you know the district you represent, and you know your votes. Group C. Yep, they gotta go. Like, they're not aligned with the community. They care more about their personal gains or their career alignments with who than us. So, I mean, I don't know why we're wasting time. I think it's a good time for us to come together. But like, we need to be mobilizing to get them out today, right now.
Thank you, bro. Let's go over here. Next.
Good evening. A lot of you know me. I'm Daisy Jackson. I'm born and raised in Roxbury. I'm an American Freeman. And I'm here to say a lot of our funding has been cut. All of the Black funding has been cut. For every organization I work at, we are better together. We work with incarcerated, formerly incarcerated. We work with families and children that are suffering. And I'm tired of seeing us last. We're always last. We come last. Everything in our community is expensive. Gas, food. We in a food desert. What happened to the healthy food? Everybody's unhealthy, having all these heart problems, health problems. BMC, I'm a community health advocate, and we see all the problems. We have medical issues that are not being addressed, right? We don't even have enough income because we're not getting the job. The mayor's hiring people to help her create displacement, right? Erasure. We don't even see Black-owned businesses thrive anymore. She's taking all of our funding. I was in a meeting at the State House this morning because of funding cuts, budget cuts. We don't even have an office for American freedmen to do the things that we need to do in this community to make sure Black Americans survive and thrive. We've been last way too long, and we need to hold people in this office, in the city council, and in the mayor's office accountable. And it's time. When are y'all gonna really support us? Low income housing is not low income for us. Who is it really for? Who is Nubian Square really for right now? Because we can't afford it, right? She got this big stadium going up, and these kids are suffering, and I see it every day. So we need answers, and we need them now.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and sister.
Thank you.
The last show be first and the first show be last.
The elders told me to keep it respectful, and I respect my elders. I'd like to shout out to Sister Virginia's in the house. She's been holding our community down for years. I'd like to shout out Sister Shillingsford. She's been holding our community down for years. I'd like to shout out to Sister Providence back here. She's been holding our community for years. I'd like to shout out to Senator Diane Wilkinson, because without them, I would not be here. I wouldn't be the woman that they made me to be. They're crying now, but they did it to me, so blame it on yourself. That's it. And I just want to honor Roxbury Community College that our people built. They didn't beg the government. They didn't beg the elected officials, okay? They held parties at Prince Hall. They held parties at the Ellis Homes. They held parties at the Carver Den. They held parties at Caves Oasis. They held parties, and they raised the funding. They made sure we had our own. We have too many educated people in Boston, Massachusetts, for our children not being able to read. We have over 100 Black-owned churches
Why don't we have reading programs in there? We don't need no elected school committee. We need funding to go to our black churches so we can educate our children. And accountability. Like the elder said over there, we have to be accountability to ourselves. What bank do you bank at? Do you bank at One United Bank? Do you buy gas at the mobile black station in Mattapan Square? When you're holding an event, are you holding it at Prince Hall? Are you holding it at the Carver Den? Yeah, let's be accountable. Our black businesses are closing because you don't support your own black businesses. Let's be honest.
I keep saying that.
Did you go to the 54th Regiment in Hyde Park? The black restaurant in there? You hold the meetings in there? No, you need to be accountable to the community. You need to be accountable to these children running around here and be proud of what our ancestors built. We have our own museums. We have our own churches. Don't say we don't have nothing and start begging people for something. You can get a case of water and sell it for $4. Have some goddamn respect for yourself. We built the pyramids and we can build anything we want, and we need to be held accountable. This ought to be a reparations meeting, okay? This brother should be dedicated, no disrespect, but we're not voting until we get reparations. We're not voting for school department. We're voting for reparations. They owe us that money. We want the money.
Let's go over here. Go ahead, is that Randy? Mr. Randy, good to see you, bro. Can we get it quiet, please? Brother Randy, please.
So first and foremost, I want to thank you for having this conference, beautiful conference. We need to have more of these. I'm Minister Randy Muhammad of Muhammad Mosque number 11. And I want to say that first and foremost, I am a Puerto Rican, but I am a black man, right? So I want to share, because some may not know, that Puerto Rico has been a part of the United States since 1898. So we are American citizens. I am a black American, and I am Puerto Rican. Now, with that being said, the conversation needs to be had, and I hear the pain and the passion, right, that black Americans are experiencing and wanting to consolidate our culture. But I want to say this for us to think about humbly and respectfully, right? Who here would say that Marcus Garvey could not speak for black Americans? Who here would say that Malcolm X would not be able to speak for black Americans? Who here would be able to say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would not and does not speak for black Americans? I don't think any of us can say that and be correct. So the question is not whether you're a black American or Caribbean, it's whether you a sellout or not. Right? And whether you represent the people. And you get people. So I also am the prominent executive director of Toastmasters Recovery Inc. And we have been providing recovery support services in the form of outreach at Nubian Square, providing support to our people that are suffering with substance use disorders. We can save our lives literally with Narcan and bringing people back to lives, connecting people with housing, with detox, with resources, with advocacy. There is no more funding to continue the work that we have been doing. We are grassroots. I've been in the Nation of Islam for 37 years. I was born and raised in the city. Right? I work in the city and I advocate in the city. And we've been doing this work for decades. The Nation of Islam has been doing this work for decades. We finally organized and structured and able to really expand our capacity. And so we became the first and only black-owned and operated recovery support center in the whole state of Massachusetts, right? And so now, there's no more funding to continue. However, they just announced $4 million, right, to deal with substance use disorder in Maxon County. And so, one of the things that's happening is they utilize us as a pilot program, study the outreach efforts and what we were able to do, repackaged it, and now are going to fund an outside community at $4 million for what they was expecting us to do for about $100,000 for a staff of 7 employees that's working out, engaging our people. So I want to say to the city council, when we look at the budget, it seems that there's always money for everyone else that's not a grassroots organization in this community that has a proven track record of doing this work. But we always seem to be able to give the money to the big companies that are outside our community that don't represent it. So lastly, I'll say, what we need to do as a community, we need to do more of this. Because the reason that we're not respected in the city is because we are so divided on every issue. And so we have to come together, as my brother Max said earlier, we have to come together proactively to develop the black agenda that we can put before those would-be politicians, that this is what we want you to represent in the position that you're in, and if you don't do that, then we're going to get you out of there and we're going to put somebody in. But it starts with us coming together. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask you to do me a favor. In all the years I've been around in Roxbury, nobody's been more consistent in the nation as Islam. Give them a round of applause, please. Mr. Brady. You are next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jissa. I usually don't do this, but I think that this calls for it. I just wanted to start off with the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And excuse me, I come from a land of imagination. I am Haitian American, where my people were the ones that saw freedom and went and they took it. They never waited. They didn't have a conversation. They didn't ask politely. They came together. They used the spirit of the land, the ancestry, the knowledge of the roads and the mountains in order for them to achieve that. And so my thing today is, Mr. Singleton, you did a really great job breaking down the White Stadium. We don't need for them to pass a resolution for us to do an audit of where our money is going. There are a lot of talented and knowledgeable people within us that we can do it ourselves. And if the counselors and folks are not able to follow through, then we disrupt them. We continue to disrupt their hearings. We continue to disrupt their city council. Like, however way, we continue to disrupt it. And I think that that's a form of white supremacy when we come to a place and we're vocal and we share and we're talking about our passions and often told to be quiet and calm down. But that's, like, we have important things at hand right now. And so I really appreciate you all coming here, but I also have to remind us that we are part of this structure. So when folks are coming really passionate and agitated and have a conversation, instead of us trying to calm them down, I think we have to take a minute to give them the space to get it out. Maybe have more sessions where we bring it up, where today it's about testimony about how you're feeling. Tomorrow we get to work, so that way we can continue to be proactive. But I am begging everyone, please, I am imploring you all. I am a mom of 4 children that live in this city, and we cannot continue to allow folks that want proximity to power to lead the budget, to lead our lives, and we do not need to ask for permission.
You just and credit to her for all you don't know who she is. She's been fighting for us from within City Hall for many years, so thank you, Fiscal.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Miracle Wilkerson.
Hi, Miracle.
Hello.
Any relation? You're not, but we met on my birthday.
Speak close to me.
I wanted to say, I'm what most of you would consider a transplant. I moved here 15 years ago. I found a community. My sister Levette in the back. I'm also a union carpenter. I work in the city. I built a lot of buildings in which our people, we can't even afford to live in. That's just one issue. I really came to this microphone because my mother is still actively in recovery from drug addiction. When I walk through Dudley and Nubian Square, it upsets my stomach. I came up here because I keep hearing people talking about, oh, people want to buy blocks, they want to say Nubian Square. You know, but a lot of people fail to realize that the police are out there, there's transit police, they're allowing these deals to go down. I can't even sit on a bench and wait for my bus without somebody playing and sticking a needle in their veins. But when the Boston, what is that, marathon comes, Mass Ave is clean. They make sure there's nothing. Is there anything that you guys can do? My question to y'all is to make sure that these methadone clinics, these shelters be relocated. These places don't need to be in our neighborhood. That's right there. And they're allowing these things to happen. Excuse me, I don't mean to get so loud, but I feel like that can honestly be a fix to a lot of our businesses flourishing because nobody wants to go there. It's not a welcoming place when you have 1,000 drug addicts running around and lighting their crack on the buses, whatever they're doing.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks to the illustrious panel, and thank you for all of the city councilors that are present. My name is Sister Virginia, and I was born and raised in Rockford, and I live in Philadelphia. I've been here all my life, and I love to say that I worship, work, and live in my community. I just have two very quick questions for the city councilors. One, we did a ribbon cutting for the Grove Hall Community Center. And I'm asking us to please, I had asked this question when we did the ribbon cutting up in Grove Hall Community Center. If we could please name the center, the Jean McGuire Youth Intergenerational Community Center. That's one question for them. And the other is, what is it that we need to do, the council as well as the community, to get an elected school committee? Those are my two questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Here's what we have to do because we're running low on time and we want some responses from the city councilors that are here. So we'll pause and we're going to go to the city councilors and ask their comments based on what they've heard so far. Who wants the mic first? Councilor here? You never talk so much. We need to hear your voice.
We want to hear from Mr. Babbitt.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Enrique Pepe. I'm the District 5 Boston City Councilor, and I believe in accountability and accepting. And what I can sense here is there's a lot of agreement and frustration on how the votes have been happening, how everything's been going on inside City Hall. But what I also want to acknowledge is that I personally don't find myself in rooms like this often. And exactly. And what I want to be able to do is make sure that, I think a lot of residents said that this isn't the last time that we do this, because what happens with me as a district councilor, I don't find myself in Roxbury enough. I don't find myself in Dorchester enough. I tend to lean to my district and hear what my people are saying. But what I want to be able to say here is that I want to make sure that I'm part of these conversations and that the votes that, sometimes you don't realize the hurt you're causing with your votes. And no, I'm not saying this as an excuse. I'm not saying this as an excuse. If you're not hearing it directly from the people, then I won't know what the impact is. So what I'm saying, ma'am, what I'm saying is that I'm here. The reason why I'm here today is because I want to change that. I want to change that. And it's too late. I'm in the beginning of my second term. I'm the youngest city councilor. What I want to be able to do is learn from learn. I want to learn to be a better public servant, learn to make sure that I'm representing as many of the voices in this room as possible. And I know that I'm not going to make everyone happy. I just want to make sure that I want to just make sure that I'm here to be able to have this conversation before and be accountable for the fact that I know all of the votes that I've taken have not been the votes that people in this room want to see. And that's what I want to say.
Can you speak to some of the specific issues they brought up?
Yeah, I heard a lot of the budget questions. I probably won't be able to be the one to answer all of them here today. I heard a lot of budget questions. This is the moment for us to, as councilors, to convene and talk about how do we want to amend the mayor's proposed budget. We just started the first set of hearings today. We heard the operating budget this morning, and we heard the capital budget this afternoon. For the next 6 weeks, we're going to have every single department in front of us. We're going to be able to ask the questions of how their department is going to be impacted. How can we as city councilors, how can we ensure as councilors, we're making sure that they're not as negatively impacted as possible. The reality is true. Someone said it. I think one of the speakers said it. We're living in a very tough economic time, and so we've got to make sure that we're taking all that into consideration when the time comes to vote for amending the budget or voting for or against the budget, that we all wrap our hands about this topic and making sure that we make the decision that's best for the community. Again, I'm here to continue the dialogue. I know I'm not going to make everyone happy ever, but I want to make sure that at least I'm part of the conversation moving forward. And I want to thank the folks on the stage. I want to thank Michael Bird for just being here for the invitation. Thank you.
Let me ask former Council President Lucy St. to come up next.
Now that's what we want to hear from.
My last people, I do consider this, and I said this last time we did this, a family conversation. Show respect for family. Just like, if you're going to have a conversation with a listener, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Teresa Puget, at-large city councilor, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. I want to thank everyone for putting this on. And I do really understand and hear people and the frustrations, especially us as Black folk. We permanently always putting out fires, and it feels that way. I do want to say one thing, right? Like, this work is not easy work. And I just want to and I do this work from my heart. And I care deeply about all of our residents, and I care deeply especially about our most vulnerable residents. When you see votes up there, for example, about a committee assignment, right? Like, it's more complicated, and I respect the opinions that people have, but it's more complicated than that, right? As somebody who had to
We're not gonna act like this. No, we're not gonna act like this. Because that's
as someone who had the responsibility of assigning things to committees. So I feel that. And so as someone who also was the one to make sure that the Office of Attorney Citizens had grants, I will be making sure that there is process that we have. So I thank everybody.
the reason why he not is because you know you can't hear. That's all. It's just that simple. You can't hear.
I have one question. Why not?
We were supposed to be out of here then. That's why you see the security guard pacing back and forth. We let it go for clear because we know that there is a lot of emotion. We will have another meeting. I didn't hear you.
It's 7:20. Like always.
I can't hear you.
We can look online about the budgets. We already know that. We don't need to.
Okay. We're back to the questions. Everyone has
Somebody's speaking over this side.
I'm going to allow the gentleman right here. I'm going to allow the gentleman to go, and then I'll make my statement.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephen Smith. I'm going to call a returning Ron been incarcerated for 24 years, and I have two questions. So, in 1994, the Chief Justice stated that a black person can't receive a fair trial in Massachusetts. Two studies concluded that, but there was a problem. They couldn't pinpoint it. I'm the pinpoint. So I was speaking to a rep about wanting to address the system, and I was told, I'll cheer from you from the background. I said, so we're gonna move from that. So as far as me coming here asking reps for anything, so we'll pass that one. And then as far as re-entry, so after 44 years, I was released with no re-entry. 8 days later, I was at the Brockton Hospital asking for assistance to return to prison without violating my parole. I said, so the Brockton Hospital called Crossroads. Called Crossroads, and from October 14th to today, that's my mental health counseling for free. So why must I struggle around out here in this society, 4 decades removed, and then there's funding for my reentry being taken away? I'm not understanding what I'm supposed to do here. So that's mine.
Thank you, brother. We'll make sure that the council responds to that question.
One of the councilors going to respond to that question, or you want me to go?
I think we're down to one person.
That's three here.
Just go ahead. We'll go.
Give me a second, please. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Senator Auntie Diane, for hosting this. I have a lot of respect for you. I am, by show of hands, how many of our mothers or parents were born in Boston? Just a show of hands. How about your grandmother, Philadelphia? So I stand here 3 generations strong out of Roxbury. And I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with the representation that always speaks for Black Boston. And I speak out loud about this all the time. Like, I get it, I respect the folks who have been pushing the politics for a long time, but I have never had a place in politics, ever. But I know my voice is powerful. So for the last 6 years, I have shown up unapologetically as me. But what I don't like, and this is a statement, not even a question, because I can say what I want to say to every single city councilor directly. No, I don't like the votes, I don't like what happened, but I'm 3 generations strong on not liking a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening. Starting with the way Mr. Curry, you've been shutting down and changing the narrative. You gotta let people speak. No, this is the part where you listen to this guy. So this is the part where you listen. This is the part where you listen for 1 second though, because I heard a lot of powerful stuff. And then a lot of kickback. And I want to say, I respect this meeting, but a lot of things that was the controversy behind this meeting that we saw underneath your post was because folks like myself and others, a whole lot of others who aren't here, aren't really comfortable with the voices that are speaking for us without us. Now, I'm 46, and I know I answered a long time ago, but my daughter's 30. My grandkids aren't born yet. I don't want somebody who's so far removed from how we really feel and who don't want to listen to how we really feel speaking for me or you. So out of respect, I love you guys. I love the politicians and the way y'all have shaped things, but I realize there's some things that I'm going to do differently. Starting with pointing out the elephant in the room every time I'm in the room. So, with that being said, 3 generations strong of Boston, I want to see change. I want to see real change. And I don't have to be at every table, but I want to make sure that representation looks like me, talks like me, because the hands up. And the degrees are on the wall. So that's not a question here. But let's just make sure that we listen to people down City Hall or the Gold Dome or even DC. Make sure they represent everyday Boston, like the people who left behind. And that's all I said.
So, you all checking the time? Yes. It's after 8:30. We have this space till 8. And I know some of you frowning, but first, I'm not gonna let him take that Black Key, I'm the one who told him he can't let people talk more than 1 minute because I saw 40 people in line.
But he's answering questions and shutting people down. I know there's a difference between the two.
And I'm telling Mike, gotta shut this off. And here's the thing, I would say, it's not perfect. This is first meeting. We could do a meeting just on education. We could just do a meeting on reentry. We really need to have a meeting about this whole issue of blackness. Right? Yes, because it's real, right? But that wasn't tonight. Tonight is about budget, because we're in budget season. And yes, I get it that we could just forget it and start working on 2 years from now. But I'm not comfortable, and I don't think most people are, with just saying y'all can do what y'all want for the next 2 years. Right?
Can I just say one thing? Hold on a second. Tonight's about the budget. You say tonight's about the budget. But this meeting y'all had was before the budget was out. So what was that about?
So we got a meeting about accountability. We had those folks that you saw.
We should talk about accountability more.
Well, that is what we're talking about. How the budget folks had a lot of the stuff on their minds, and we can't stop that. So you got to make up your mind, because half the people that spoke didn't speak on what we hear, but it's important, because there's a lot of emotion in here. We weren't going to have a conversation just about Nubian, but stuff is happening, right?
It's disrespectful that the council didn't stay to that. That's what we always get out of them. And they come late and they want to shut everybody down.
Thank you,
Julia.
Right.
Okay, Julia, thank you. That we want to talk about.
Tanya,
What's hurting our country? You know what? Not what y'all need to make y'all
looking good. Are you kidding me, sir? Man, wait. We don't think no. We're not going to do that. I didn't come in here to fight with anybody. And I don't want you to think that because we invited them, that it was free season and you tear them up. There's a way to do
Well, the
stuff.
next time they left. Auntie D, they left. That's how much they disrespect us.
I'm going to be in and we're going to tear them up. So we can schedule another one right now. So just be careful you that day, right? Because if you think this makes me look good, that's be kidding. You need somebody waiting for their ride to outside for you.
Sean, there's a ride outside.
Let Keith finish. Let Keith finish.
Good evening, everybody. I want to say thank you to you yourself for putting this together and also creating the piano. My name is Anthony Edwards. I'm a legacy resident in the city of Boston. My family migrated here in 1940. I'll be 60 next week, and I am so disappointed in Roxbury. And this is budgetary. So there is nothing that represents us as Black Americans in Roxbury. I know that the sister talked about shopping in Roxbury. There's only 2 Black American stores in Roxbury. And so people don't want to shop in Roxbury because there's nothing there. We're the only deserted community in the city of Boston. If you look at Uplands Corner, Fields Corner, Mattapan, Hyde Park, this is bustling. What is in Dudley or Union Square that would want to incite people or invite them to come here? I live here. When I step out my house, there's nothing there for us. There's no baker, butcher, candlestick maker. There's not a cleaners. I can't even get tile in the home. I have to go to Brigham Circle. So that's a part of the budget. What are you guys going to do about Union Square? It's being allowed to have these unaffordable houses built, $5,000 per unit. Our people can't afford them. Our people have been displaced, and I want to correct the proper terminology for displaced. Our people went through urban renewal, eminent domain, knocking down buildings, houses, and displacing our people, and they now live on the outskirts. Currently, people keep saying displacement is high rent. That's not our displacement, and those wrongs have never been corrected. So that's my first thing about Union Square, and I do patronize Life Touch. I get all my education outfits for them. I send a letter in for them. But it's a shame that as Anthony and Edwards, I walk out my house and there's nothing in Union Square other than Frugal Bookstore and Final Touch that accommodates me. And all other communities have it. And so I want to talk to the City Council of Elector because everybody represents a community that caters to their culture. Everything in every other community is convenient. And so when I heard Pepin talk about he didn't know the community, I'm gonna volunteer to take a tour and get a tour bus. You need to come with me in Roxbury and walk around with me. I wanna show you how they defecate on the sidewalks and urinate on the sidewalks. I wanna show you how people can't even get into struggling businesses because of the mass and cast people that the mayor dispersed all over Roxbury and the South End. That's deterring business. There's a new barbershop in the cut that was just built in Dudley. I'm gonna still call it Dudley. I'm almost. It's Dudley. They can't even get in the door because the mass and cast people are there. When I'm walking down Dudley, excuse me, get out my way. Move. You gotta act like that. You have to act gangster because they don't want to move. And the policemen are not gonna arrest us because they feel like they are not in a position to arrest them. They're doing transactions in front of everybody. And this is triple worse than a crack epidemic. So now, this is as a community person, okay, not as a city of Boston task force person. My question is, if you don't know our community and don't know our history, when we come to you with the reparation recommendation, how are you gonna make it an intellectual decision? Because we're coming. We're coming with recommendations, and we're going to come with recommendations that show the 400 years of systematic and structural oppression that some people have not been a part of. So if you don't know our history and you're cutting our budget completely every time we turn around, my budget was just cut last month for the reparations task force, community engagement, $62,000 or $27,000. I can't even properly give you guys a report that you need and set up the meetings to get you guys what you need. A lot of people don't know it. So when we advocate for a budget, my question is, what budget are you allocating for reparations now? And what's the end game after we make the recommendation? And I don't want anybody to act like they're unfamiliar. I don't know the community. I haven't been to a meeting. I don't really know anything about it because I'm volunteering myself. I will put sneakers on, or boots on the ground, and we can take a tour of Roxbury. I'll show you what's really going on. Because this is serious. All other groups of people have gotten a budget. $45 million recently. Everybody is getting money. Black Americans who have been here, legacy residents, have been overlooked for years. And I really need you guys to understand what's going on. There's two authors here of the reparation bill ordinance. It's a law.
So Antonio, can I have, allow Councilor Santana a time opportunity?
Tanya Fernandez and Julia Mejia.
Because he is the chair of public safety, and so much of what you all are talking about is in that jurisdiction.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Councilor Santana. Well, so many of the questions you've heard that's been about
safety and reparations.
Good evening, everyone. Henry Santana here, the honor of being with the at-large councilors. And thank you to the organizers, and thank you all for being here. Some of the things that I've heard, I know in terms of budget, I know some of the councilors mentioned that we just started our first official meetings today. Two areas that I'm really going to focus on as of right now, but now also continue to listen to the community and add those to the priorities. But obviously Friday afternoon, a lot of our local organizations and nonprofits receive communication that many of the amazing grants that we have in the city of Boston are no longer going to be continuing. So alongside with my colleagues, I will be advocating and fighting for trying to get as many of those grants back. And then number two, I think anyone who's familiar with me and my work, I'm really passionate about our youth, and I'm really passionate about summer youth jobs. I'm glad that summer youth jobs are uncapped this year.
That was cut, right?
So that's So that's what I'm saying. So I'm glad to see that summer youth jobs are still uncapped, meaning that if you are a PPS student and you want a job this summer, you are guaranteed a job, and we need to make sure that we hold the administration accountable for that. What's being cut is year-round jobs, and that is an area where year-round jobs is an area that I'm going to be advocating for. I'm a product of year-round jobs. I know what it does, especially after. I'm sorry. Okay. Especially if you're leaving school 2, 3 p.m., you're getting home 8, 9 p.m., whatever the case is. That time that you're out, we need to make sure that our students are in programs and in jobs. So those are the two areas right now, when it comes to grant money, when it comes to year-round jobs, that I'll be advocating for. And again, I want to be able to continue to listen to the community to add those two priorities. Thank you.
They wanted to hear about public safety. Public safety. How are you gonna keep the streets safe? You're an at-large counselor. Come on, help me.
So, folks, you understand that if this keeps up, we're never gonna get on that side. But here's the thing. I'm gonna say it again. This is uncomfortable, right? We knew that it was going to be. The reality is that we don't have a process where the city council overrides anything that the mayor asks. I think if I've seen it done happen once, twice, it was when Councilor Fernandez put her foot to the metal on some issues for Roxbury, but they don't override. So the question is what you're going to do about all these budget cuts that went to all of the nonprofit organizations in the community that are great in our community. No one's answered that. And the reality is they're not going to answer it because the mayor cut it. And the whole point of this process is that the majority of our council votes for whatever the mayor wants every single time they take the vote. So they didn't invent the whole 6-7, but the 7-6 is real. The 7-6 is real. That's the problem.
So get rid of the mayor.
That's the message we got to address, and that's why we're here when we talked about accountability. So, we go here. This young man has been patiently standing there.
Hello, my name is Henry Gescott. I'm 17 years old, and I'm here with Greatest Minds. I'm so glad for Mr. Santana bringing up our youth summer jobs, but I just wanted to bring more emphasis to this issue of our youth summer jobs being cut, because these jobs for our youth, especially in the summer and in the school year, they're really important. And I know a lot of kids it helps them helps keep them off the streets, helps keep them away from getting into any type of violence or gang banging. And it also this is an important investment into our youth. And I know there's a lot of youth with families who are struggling. There's families, they kind of depend on that little source of income to help out, especially if they have younger siblings or any other thing that's going on in their situation. So it's really important to have these jobs and to continue investing into our young people.
Go ahead, little bro.
What about youth businesses? Start a business. Talking about this summer, next 2 months.
Everyone, I just want to let you know, we got to get up to this brother right here. He's 17, give it up. He's going to be on the street. But I also want you to know how you articulate the great mind. I want you to know this is Cecil grandson. Ken Guscott's nephew right here. So, welcome to the fold, brother, because you know what, you're really about this leadership and legacy. So everyone, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, my turn, sorry. Hi, okay, we're here to talk about accountability, so I'm gonna jump right in. Because I know that more than half of this room hear me talk at these type of things over and over and over and over again. Edith Brazil, she knows me very well, knows my story about my child. Me and Kevin Peterson both have been reaching out to you for about a week and a half now. No response, but hopefully we can connect. Accountability. Next, I'm gonna jump right in. Me and Julia Mejia, she knows my daughter's situation. Henry Santana. A lot of the other ones left, so I'm just gonna focus on who's here. We're talking about accountability, which is why I wanna bring this up. Because I have questions, and this is strictly about my child. I came to them telling them my daughter was sexually assaulted by a male teacher in Boston Public School. As a child, she did everything right, reported it, went and told, and guess what? The principal had already been on the news from another situation in a different school 2 weeks prior.
They're in union, so they move them around. So guess what they did? They swept it under the rug and they kept it quiet. They did nothing. They didn't report it to the police. They didn't do an incident report. They did not call DCF to file a 51A, knowing that a minor child had been sexually abused. Did nothing. And on top of that, they coerced my daughter into believing I knew that they called me. So I'm constantly pushing her to school every day in this abuser's arms until my daughter had a nervous breakdown 2 weeks later and refused to go to school. And that's how it came to the light. I had to then take my child to the DA's office for interviews, interrogations, when they should be interrogating that man, right? Yeah. And the whole nine, the whole Children's Advocacy Center or whatever. Those of you that know, y'all know. So moving right along, moving forward, because the schools refused, you know what they did? They trespassed me out of the school. They trespassed me out of the bowling building. They retaliated against me. Instead of helping my child, instead of getting rid of this man who continued to teach in the school. So while I was out here raising my voice and fighting for my child, he was teaching somebody else's kids. And the schools knew about it. The mayor, Ayanna Presley, Chris Morrell, Julia Mahia, Henry Santana. I came to every last one of them. And I came nice. And I came respectful. And I came with it in writing. And I did all the crying and the whole nine. That's why you see me as a mother talking like this. Because how much can one person take? I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot. I'm a human being fighting for my child. And that's where the story only begins. When the school did nothing to protect them, I snatched all my kids out of BPS. And that was a homeschooling mom. Again, everything I'm telling y'all, I went public about it. So if anybody know my story, raise your hands in this room just to let them know. You see me on it. You heard me talk about it. Everybody in here knows. I homeschool, which is not illegal. And you know what I had to deal with? While your good mayor Wustafa is about to give BPD more money, they continue to harass me at my door. That was on Twitter and went viral. Me and Julia's video of me confronting her again, saying, why are y'all lying to me and talking to me, and you know, y'all constantly profit from poor people's pain. That has to stop. If you don't want to help us, say that. Don't sit there and hug us. Don't sit there and tell me you're a good mom, you're so strong. Don't take my phone number. Don't ask me for my email. Don't tell me there's a reporter waiting to hear my story. Meanwhile, my child is at home getting denied an education. Because right now today, she's been out of school since January 14th, but let me not jump ahead. Let me go back a little bit. So after I removed the kids from homeschool, I constantly have 51As filed against me. I constantly have Boston police knocking on my door. And I recorded it all and put it out to the public. And guess what? Before it even got to that point, I am a certified chef, and I started a business, a black business, because I'm a black woman. I don't have no ties outside of the U.S. My family's right here from this soil. And guess what? Nobody helped me or gave me no grants or funding or nothing. So I gave up my job and my business that already flunked to stay at home and do the job that the teachers in the schools should be doing. And after doing that for a year, my youngest child needed heart surgery back in September. So I was living out of children. I did what everybody in the city told me to do. Put the kids back in school so the police and DCF can leave you alone. It's either get your kids taken or, like Edith said, conform to their way and what they want you to do. So I did that, and guess what? When I put my daughter back in school, bullying. She started getting bullied for being a new girl. Right now, my daughter's at home. She sustained a concussion and a dislocated shoulder. The dislocation is so severe. Eight fucking times, and I'm gonna swear. 8 times I've been back to Children's Hospital for them to pump my child full of fentanyl, morphine, ketamine, over and over and over and over. 8 fucking times in a row. Every 8 days, 12 days, 6 days, it's coming out. And guess what? Please do your research and look up what kind of side effects those medicines cause. Hallucinations, suicide, depression. And when she started displaying that, they fucking took my child from me. And they put her in a mental hospital. And I fucking had to fight to get her out of there. And I reached out to every one of y'all again. And no fucking body heard me. Nobody fucking helped me. And my child's at home right now with her arm jacked up to here. Physical therapy 3 times a week. The fucking school still won't talk to me. They won't give my child a laptop. They won't give her nothing. They won't give her no. They villainize the moms. They villainize us for fighting for what's right. And by the way, just so that y'all know, that teacher with the sexual assault, he also runs a fucking basketball program here in the city. And he's still running it to this day. I seen him in the community sitting tapping little boys' butts. I recorded, put it out to the public. These fucking people know about it. They all know about it. But guess what? They don't want Mayor Wu. Yeah, I think Ramilda said it. They don't want to cut the umbilical cord from Mayor Wu. So they say it's easier to silence me because I'm one person. And ain't nobody standing with me. So I don't know this woman right here who thinks I'm too much. No, I'm not a fucking nut. Because if I was, somebody would be hearing me. My child would not be going without getting an education. Then the school board got the nerve to tell me this week in the email, she got to get kept back for the second time. How much pain? I'm asking y'all to hear me out, not for me.
We have.
For the child. Y'all say that all the time. But guess what? Everybody that's in charge of public safety, didn't we have coffee? I made a whole portfolio and showed you emails, pictures. You took pictures of them and you fucking told Mayor Wu. Which I didn't care because guess what? I already went to her office. And I already told her a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when she just was at the Golden Building. I'm not going anywhere. So you can continue to ignore me, and I'm going to continue to blast y'all every time I see you in public. I'm going to continue to let the Boston people, city of Boston people know how y'all are. Y'all are frauds, y'all are fake, y'all are phony, y'all are manipulative, y'all are deceptive, and everybody should know, because none of y'all deserve a seat. None of y'all deserve a seat.
Ma'am.
None of y'all.
Ma'am.
Accountability, my ass. Who's going to take accountability? Who? When? Not who. When are you going to start taking accountability? Oh, now that Mayor Wu took all the funding, and everybody see the kind of person she is, now y'all reaching out to the community. Now you want to hear what we got to say. Now you want to resolve things in the community. Because y'all need our fucking help. Because y'all need our vote. And I say, guess what? Leave them out in the cold the same way they did us. Fuck.
Ma'am, I'm talking to you.
Go ahead, I'm putting the mic down.
No. Wait, I'm
all right, go ahead.
I don't, this is the first time I met you. And you know, the first time you met me.
Yep.
I want to talk to you.
Go ahead.
No, we're not going to do that right here.
Oh, okay, whenever you're ready. I'm going to just let you know, I don't want to hear it if it ain't for real. You can save it. I have nothing else left in me.
Monica, that's Auntie That's real.
I said okay, but I'm just telling you, if it ain't serious, I don't want to be bothered. I'm tired of it. Because now I'm just the angry black woman. To everybody, right? I'm just the angry black woman.
I would be too. We couldn't even, I couldn't even cut you, I don't know what to say. This is the first time I'm hearing this story.
I said it earlier. I'm sorry if your child or his child hasn't been sexually assaulted in school where they're supposed to be safe. I'm sorry if y'all are not struggling financially because you chose to give up your career and stay at home. I'm sorry if you don't understand my struggles and understand why this trauma has me this way. I'm sorry.
I'm serious about this.
I'm sorry. We're not allowed to be upset or talk loud or...
I want to talk to you.
You know?
And I want to get these folks...
I want action, with all due respect. The talking has been too much. I want action. I want people who's going to stand with me, who's going to make calls, emails, who's going to help me get to the bottom of it. That's it.
Do like what she does.
That's it.
Real quick, there's somebody that lost their keys to their car. There's a stitch, stuffed animal attached to it, a character attached to it. If you lost that, please come and see me. You just have to describe something else to see it happen to you.
We're going to have to do something really special for the staff here. Go ahead, George.
I just want to start off by saying thank you, Auntie D. You look fabulous. I love it. Sometimes I need to identify as a Zika, and when I identify as a Zika, I still get look sideways. And I say that for a reason. Because I'm going to follow up right behind Monica. Because Monica said about retaliation. I started doing this work, and I started by being nice to everybody, doing the work very nicely, reaching out to people, emailing, trying to have meetings with them, talk to them nicely, and it got me nowhere. Then when I started going like this, I'm crazy. And then when I started calling them out, it's retaliation. So when we talk about family, Michael, no, Michael said family earlier. That's my brother. I love Michael. But when we talk about family, we got to treat everybody like family. Because see, John Dean is the type of person that said, let's have a conversation. Now, am I lying on today? That's right. And then when you decline to have that conversation, I get aggravated. And I get to the point where Monica gets. And then when I start going off, he's crazy. But you know what? When I go off, I come with facts and points about what they're doing. And they don't like that. So when you start talking about facts, who's the fuck? Is that what, who's the fuck? Yeah, when you talk about who gotta go, for writing the email, because they didn't like what the email said. Because I've been hunting them down like a rabbit, and I had to go catch them to give me some documentation from City Hall about me. But they refused to give it to me. Now, I wrote an email to every single councilor that's in this room that was in there at the time, and the only person that ever responded to me about this me being chucked back from City Hall was Councilor Tanya Anderson. Was the only one that ever addressed it. Lucy never addressed it. Pimpin never addressed it. Santana never addressed it. And you ain't talking to you because it's my turn. And we're not going to do this. We are not going to do this today, girl. Like I said, it's my turn. You already had your turn. And I respectfully shut up while you were there. I came all the way from home because I heard some things that were being said in this group. From Michael, from Sean's lie. So I started to call me a liar. Okay, because one thing I don't lie. What I tell the truth about you, Rodney. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on what I have to say. That's what I came here for. We talked about Black Americans, and we talked about other races being Black. That's right, we are Black. But let me be clear as a Cape Verdean American. Black Americans have been disproportionately treated wrongfully in front of my face. Black Americans are losing a lot in our community, right? Because some of the people in office, and some of the politicians, and some of the people in hold power will pick a Cape Verdean, a Dominican, a Haitian, or Jamaican, or anything else before they pick a Black American. Because they look down on Black Americans. My children are half Black American, and I will never sit here and let that half of them be abolished and stepped on. Like I said, Black Americans are being treated wrongfully in Boston and around the country. As a foreign Cape Verdean man, okay, who is an American, okay, I see that for myself. So I heard that and I said, what, huh? No, Michael, we are Black. We are Black. But Black Americans have been disproportionately treated in this country and in the city of Boston. And Mayor Wu sat there and did all around her parties and block parties and signs, and guess what? Then she turned around and cut out your budget. But let me tell you one more thing that's about to happen. Let me break a little news about you all don't know yet. Do you know that the trauma team is going out? Right. Do you know that the trauma team, the money for trauma team, has been taken by Donald Osborne and has been given to all his friends that are in the industry, and all his friends did not do his work in the trauma. So that's where all your funding has gone. And so when they come out talking about cutting some of the nonprofits, I truly believe some of them do need to be cut. Because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Priscilla, we're gonna let you go next. You're the last one, and then Councilor. Dwayne.
How you doing? My name is Dwayne Osborne, Roxbury resident and homeowner, and to everybody that's right, we do own a store in Dudley. We've owned Just Tea for 14 years. We are the MBTA push cart right inside of Dudley. Y'all might know the store. The only thing people do is karaoke. We've been able to give away free hot dogs to the community. We do it because we do it for our community. All the ways in Boston. So I only stood up because I heard so many people talk about Black-owned businesses in Roxbury like I didn't have one. I've had one for 14 years that I stayed in that MBTA station, and I fed my community. Brothers who were strung out on drugs, we gave them hot dogs. We didn't ask for them. I did it because I'm from here. What did the MBTA do? We're closed, just like all the rest of us are closed. They did, if you notice, there ain't no more music. We look too happy in Dudley. There was a problem. You be walking down the street, and one thing I found out, you all know, my senator, I love you with all my heart. People will be walking and they hear that music makes person who is messed up. All of a sudden, it will just catch you and bring you back to your room. But I just want to say, yeah, they closed me, but we will be relocating only reason I stood up is y'all was talking about the Woodrow and the black store in Dudley. I'm gonna stand up and sit on that.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fiscal. I am the founder and executive director of the Michael Anthony Hall Educational Institute, where I train young kids around civic engagement, leadership, and advocacy. And I do it all in my own family. I also run the political consultant. I'm also on the Human Spirit Task Force. I'm also on the Human Spirit Task Force. You have to be. Stop it. Just stop it. I wasn't even going to get up. I wasn't even going to say nothing because I've been sick for the last 3 months. I had a heart attack in January and I've been sick. And that's why I haven't been around or doing anything. Let me be honest with y'all. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of full of this bull crap that goes on in our community. I'm very upset.
Somebody close the door. Really?
Get that outside.
Somebody close the door so Priscilla can talk.
And that's it. Priscilla's trying to speak.
Okay, Priscilla.
I was very upset at the inaugural and at the meeting that happened at City Hall about the president election. I feel like if we don't wake up and do something, it's going to continue to happen. It does not make no sense that we had a candidate, Brian Roder, and they went to Miss Bergen's house the night before and asked her to accept it, and they voted 7-6. We know, I'm trying to tell you, Michelle Wu, I'm sick of you. Michelle Wu needs to go. She got it on a free, just walk right in the background office. She ain't doing nothing for us. She don't care nothing about us, and somebody needs to run against her behind the next time she runs. I'm getting a little bit so I'm gonna sit down and be quiet. But I'm telling you people, we need to get together. They're laughing at us. There's no reason. He has a place in Roxbury. Osborne has a place in Roxbury. And I forgot the other person. Who's Frugal Bookstore. So I'm just saying, a change has gotta come. And that sister that was just up here, I want to talk to her too. Because what she with Monica, that don't make no sense. I'm gonna invite her on my show, People Power of the Soul. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. And you already know me. We don't have to pray to nobody. I don't feel nobody but down our line. We're gonna make some changes in this city.
So where did Councilor go? Councilor right here?
Well, Ruth is in the back. Everyone else left.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, that's the one I got.
Tanya Anderson here. Just, so it's really difficult for us to get together in these kind of events and have so much frustration and build up. But this is a wonderful opportunity. Conflict is a good thing. And we've come here today and you expressed your pain and your frustrations. The only thing I say is I've learned so much just watching that the structure can be adjusted to allow for these conversations in different settings. And that we also always go so hard on our Black women. And it's necessary, this conversation is necessary, but we need to find space to do that. We should also hold the men in the room just as accountable. Councilor Santana, Enrique Pepin, they were here, or to us Santana's still here. And I think that the honest, transparent conversation is about how exactly can we talk to you about your votes, about supporting you enough so you don't feel like
you have to ally yourself with the mayor when it doesn't benefit us. And so he has to come out. So we have to also bring in Enrique Pepin. Enrique did a number on the council president routine, on that process. He came in and did a speech, then he left. But we love to yell at our own. When Lucy was talking, we were like, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, she's accountable. But we didn't do that to Pepin, and Pepin orchestrated the whole thing. And what we know right now is that we have a Julia Mejia, the anomaly, the one person standing that we know votes 100% with community. What we know is that the budget is rigged right now. I was telling y'all, Michelle was putting money, inflating certain departments, putting money in some areas. They would underspend, the money would come back to her. As long as it was under $3 million, she could do whatever the heck she wanted to with it. And she did it. This year, she has to be conservative with what's happening nationally. And so she's trimmed across the board, but she's dried it up so much that the councilors have no power. At all. And they especially have no power because when you have a council strong, I'm sorry, Schulenberg, you are older than me, so if you like the mic. A mayor strong council, that's what this is. A mayor strong council, a council body that the mayor tells them what to do. And so us yelling at the councilors is one thing, but then the process is what I noticed that we don't understand. So this conversation was necessary, and it is a good thing that you stayed. You're the ones who take this conversation seriously. I appreciate you. I say do it again. I say be present again, and we'll get it right. We'll get it right. We'll do it again. We'll talk again, and we'll trim out the facts, all the emotions, all the frustrations, and we'll show that Black Boston or issues can be prioritized with organizing, but organizing strategically. And that is what you see this panel did today. And so I applaud you on the stage and thank you. Ruthie left, but I love Black women, and I love her no matter what. She effed up big time with his vote. Henry, you messed up. And Enrique messed up with their vote. Men of color, a Black man, a Black woman who publicly lynched a Black man not to have that council president. But the background story is that Michelle Wu held the cards, and she got them by the balls when she has a city that she can tell the council what to do. It is what it is. And it's not for us to be angry at our councilors. It's for us to bring them in, be like, hey, you, come in. Smack them around in private. Create that platform and teach them, but support them also so they can keep their seat, so that they don't have to follow Michelle Wu, if that's what we want. I'm not going to keep you guys.
So what happens when you do that?
Right.
When you do that? What you just said. When you go to them one-on-one privately, still support them.
It's an opinion.
You get an attitude, you
The
ignore it.
vote, they didn't mess up, they just showed who they are, so we should believe it.
I believe in giving people my everybody attention. So reacting like in this platform to that is not fair to Monica. So Monica, we'll talk later. But I thank you for your time, and as soon as I'm out of my honeymoon hiatus, I will hopefully come back to the community and support. Thank you, and I love you, Julia. I love you too.
She took my turn. I gave her the mic, y'all. I was supposed to close this out. I was supposed to say something. No, you're not closing I'm not it gonna say out. nothing You either. have the last comment, and then we're gonna
Oh, yeah, well, you know me, I used to work.
That's what I'm telling you
Now, you know what to do, y'all make it all this night just for me, I'm sure. No, you know, seriously, you know what? I grew up here in the city of Boston in the 70s at the height of the busing era. I know what it's like to feel what we are feeling right now because it has been 50 plus years and we're still here fighting for crumbs. Okay? And we need to acknowledge that truth.
That's right.
Because we deserve so much more than what we actually are fighting for. So I want to say I'm sorry. I want to publicly apologize to everybody who stood up here and told their stories and their frustrations. And I don't know if anybody of my other colleagues said sorry, but I'm going to say sorry for our body. Because we need a lot of work, and we have disappointed you all. And that's what accountability looks like, is taking responsibility for the shenanigans that we are up to inside that building. And I'm gonna be the first to tell you all that I don't participate in that shenanigans anymore. I'm not going to those budget hearings. You know why? Because those decisions have already been made, and those negotiations have already been had, and people already got what they wanted, and they're gonna come out here and try to act like they're listening. And when it's time to take those votes, you know that they didn't listen because the community did not get out the things that we cried for. This is my 7th year doing this budget. This is the first year that I refuse to go to any of those budget hearings. You know why? You're not going to utilize my political capital or waste my time. Because what I'm going to be doing is being out in these streets organizing with the hood. And the reason why we are in the situation that we're in is because we don't vote. See, they don't need your votes. Okay? Because West Roxbury goes out to vote, JP goes out to vote, Hyde Park goes out to vote, Rosendale goes out to vote, but what about Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan? We don't go out to vote, and that's why we don't matter. That's right. And I'm saying this as an elected official. So if we're going to change the way we do business, then we have to show up differently. That's right. And that is part of the work. And so my record speaks for itself. And I've been in this position, and I have read on black and brown people all day, every day. Even when I'm in West Roxbury, I'm talking about black and brown issues. And so I will continue to be that chick, whether you like me or not. I will show up for my people, period. Thank you for organizing. We got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
What do you say, the best laid plans?
No, I think we did all right.
And then life happens. So that's okay.
This was a good discussion.
It sure was. I actually feel, and I'm only speaking for me, I'm glad we did it. There's no way you can't shut up people of color when they get their stuff out, right? We're emotional people, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma, and different levels of trauma. And we're trying to deal with all of it at the same time, and that's okay. We have opinions. I totally agree that the first effort for us ought to be to bring people in. But when you bring them in, and then they go out there and do the same thing, then you gotta slap them in public. And I actually think that's where we are. There isn't a counselor that we haven't had conversations with for 3 or 4 years, including that tough discussion on March 8th about here's what the expectations are. Sister Virginia, you were there. Reggie, you were there. There's no way you could leave there and say, I'm not sure what they want me to do. Right. And then 2 weeks later, you go vote not to have an audit of the budget, and she's telling you there ain't enough money to have black teachers. But you say, I don't want to have a budget, I don't want to have an audit. So we have to be careful and not put too much of the responsibility for other people's mess on us. Because we do that when we start talking, we start excusing, right? They didn't know. You didn't know the vote for Brian were up? And then you lied to him? You had to bring his whole family, whole community in there, rooting there, knowing what you were getting ready to do, and didn't give him the courtesy. And not being able to appreciate how that thing hit different for us from the South. All over, like, oh my God, what am I watching? So, yeah, I think that the process that Councilor Anderson just laid out is the right one, but I think we're further along in the process than she would like us to be. So everything you said is right about what we need to do. Bringing people in, talking, and then if it doesn't work, got to go. Got to go. They're getting ready to give away $4 billion, make a decision about $4 billion, and have said, we have none for you. And the sad thing is we know no one but Julia, Brian, Minyard, the three of them, not enough. They're going to go in there and fight. They're going to put up a good fight. But the rest of them are going to vote for that budget, whatever the mayor tells them to do, because that's the pattern. And if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong. Prove me wrong. Because I'm now watching 3-4 years. How long have you been in the council? Councilor, this is your year 3. For Councilor Santana, yours 7. That's what I've seen every year.
I always vote no to the.
I know you do, but that's my point. So we can't have this conversation in secret. That's just my point. We can't have it in secret. We're going to have another one. We'll do another one soon. And if anybody else wants to do that, they can. But this was a success because you all came. We heard you. We didn't say we want to talk about X. We didn't say we want to talk about Y. But the bottom line is that we're going to continue this fight. I don't know if you all saw the news today. The mayor of New York held a press conference and said, we reviewed the budget, we did a 30-day review, and we've decided we cannot afford the increase for the New York Police Department, and we need to spend this money trying to close the racial wealth gap.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea.
That's what he said.
Great idea.
Because he said the average wealth of white New Yorkers is 200,000, and the average wealth of black New Yorkers is 20,000. So he said we're going to use our money to close the gap. But guess what? Ours is worse. So here we are. I do want to thank you. I also want you all to just remember is that you look at people and you make assumptions about where they are in life because they look nice. I look nice because my mama told me I don't leave the house unless I look nice. But they don't tell you anything about what we're dealing with, right, Reese? That's right. We'll be back, but we thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, so DOC has some kind of security. I remember you from there. And I remember it really
No, we're fine with that. I know what she was trying to get. Yeah, she was trying to get it. That's what it was. Okay, so no, who knew we're not in the bowling building?
Hey, brother.
We're in the bowling building. We are fine with that. We're the ones in the bowling building. So they've done like 20 years. But were you in Nubian Ocean? Nope, we've always been in the bowling building. From the beginning, the place. So when they did the building, did you guys grandfather in?
All right, guys, they had a meeting. It went a little over 3 hours, but we got it all in there.
Not just the councilors, there's also those in the community who are gatekeepers. Michelle Wu has her feelers out there. She has the churches, she has the nonprofits, she has the NGOs, she has the advocates. So it's not just them at the council, it's also us. How many of us will sit up here and talk about Wu is so great, the council is so great because they pat you on the back, or you showed up, or they wrote the check to your group, or gave you a position in city government. So it's not just the councilors, it's all of us in here. It's not just voting, it's showing up. Also backing those independents, those grassroots, or those people that see, hey, enough's enough, so I'm going to put my hat in a race. but we don't. The majority of all these city councilors that were re-elected were all re-elected by the people, by a certain amount of groups that came in, because we all raised up our hands and said, I give up. What's the point? Or just didn't show up or put in the effort. But then when they're back into office and doing the same game, you're all complaining about them again. You knew about them before that. And when I've been talking to a lot of people on the campaign trail, you knew who they were before they got into office. But again, you still voted for them or you didn't vote. So you let someone else make the choice. So it's great that we're having these conversations. Yes, they're going to get heated, but we as the people need to stop stepping up and stop being mad and actually do something. This is the first step. But like Catherine Vitale says, after the meetings, what are you going to go do? Okay? Because it's not just the city council, it's us not voting properly, not doing our research, not supporting the other new candidates that are coming in. And at the same time, we also need to call out those in the community, once again, who are the gatekeepers, who are working side by side with Michelle Wu, the city council, because they got a contract, or you work for somebody, or you're about to get a position somewhere. So again, it's great that we have these meetings, but again, it's really all on us, the voters, the people in Massachusetts. I don't know how long Boston's going to exist the way it is before it starts looking like Chicago, New York, a lot of these blue cities. But again, this was a great start, but we need to go do more. All right, Boston, we'll see you again.
All right. If you guys don't know who that is, that's Sean Nelson. Looking him up on Facebook, Sean Nelson. Great man out there. I'm about to head up out of here. Powerful speakers, a lot of interesting things. Now the question is, what are we going to do? A lot of work to be done. As you see, most of our politicians are pretty much bought and paid for, which we already know anyway. So there's nothing new. But keep yourself informed. As long as I know about these meetings, I will come out to them.
You didn't put a phone number in there. You would? Who's taking it home? Oh, he is? Okay, good, good. Oh, sorry, were you taping?
How you doing?
I need you to vote.
Excuse me. He's not gonna do it.
I know it. I'm not asking him.
He ain't gonna do that. Oh, don't waste your time, Senator.
So you think he's not going to do it?
No.
What is he bought? He's already bought and paid for? He's already bought and paid for?
They said take Indy. Lewis, I think one time I did, I seen her there, and she, I think he
How are you doing? I had to give him a shout out. How many of y'all gonna be like Shirley Simpson and start picking? You work right on.
Alright guys, you get to see what took place. Take care. What's going on? How you doing? All right. Yes, sir. All right, guys. If you want to get informed, we're going to try to learn more about these meetings, where they're going to be at, what they're doing. How are you going to change Boston? How are you going to change Boston?
How am I going to
Yeah,
change Boston? I mean, just
are you going to
being
run for
myself.
office, or are you going to hold them accountable?
Holding them accountable, showing up,
Expose
holding
them?
up the elephants all the time, yeah.
Looking forward for you exposing them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Go do your thing. We're always going to listen what other people have to say, their input, their thoughts, their ideas. Politics is dangerous business. Politicians are always bought and paid for. They always have an agenda, a hidden agenda we don't even know about. So that's the truth. They're never going to say it, but what you got here? She's running for governor of Massachusetts? And tell me a little bit about her.
I can't really do it right now. I'll tell you what.
What?
Look right there.
So where's she from? Is she from Boston?
Born and raised, seven.
Now, what about you? Have you signed for Ayanna Presley or Ed Murphy?
Ayanna Presley for what? What's she running for now?
She is running for
7 generations.
Congress, same thing.
Well, she's probably running unopposed anyway, right?
No, she's not. She doesn't sound.
So she's got to meet with me and tell me what she's going to do for the community.
So this is just to put her on the ballot, bro. And then she can meet with you and all that. But she ain't there, then.
But why put them on the ballot if we don't know what they're going to do?
So that's part of your civic.
Tell her to come meet me. Tell her to come meet with Mr. Porter, right? You know who I am. I know who you are. Mr. Porter. Tell her to come meet Mr. Porter so I can do an interview with her. Find out what she's going to do for
To
us.
be honest with you, I don't work for her, so I can't relay messages.
So
because
how are you going to put her on the ballot if you don't even know who she is?
I know who she is.
So
she's my cousin. I know exactly who she is.
Wait a minute. So you got to tell me more about her then if she's your cousin.
At the end of the day, she's the only black congressperson in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Ever. So if you don't want to sign for her, then you are, you should probably vote for someone else. Have a nice day.
I'll get her on the ballot, but she's already on the ballot. Like I don't need to get her on the ballot. She's already on the ballot. Like, why would you want to? Why would you need to sign somebody to get on the ballot if they're already on the ballot? That doesn't make any sense. What's going on, man? And that's the thing about it. If that's his cousin, he should be able to tell me a whole lot about that young lady. And I want to know who I'm voting for nowadays. I just can't vote for a name. So this young lady is running for governor. I don't know who she is. I never met her before. I'd like to know more about her and what her plans are for the state of Massachusetts. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. And we can't just vote for somebody because they're black. You have to vote for them because they represent something in your interests. Never vote for somebody because of the color of their skin. Vote for them because they mean positive in your community and for yourself and others. So that's what you got to remember. People use the race card too much, and that's the reason why we're in the condition we're in. All right, guys, I'm gonna head up out of here. Just want to give you guys an idea what's going on in our community. Get you guys on the next one.